Welcome aboard the National Football Show with your boy Big Sills. I appreciate everybody coming aboard today. And do me a favor, please hit the like button. We have a packed show. We're going to be efforting our friend Curt Schilling today. Also, Tony Sarakusa will join us from the last word on college football. No question. Sparks are flying before the SEC season even gets underway and the college football season gets underway. I absolutely love it. Most of the media, I'd say 90% of the media, have taken this story and run with it in the wrong direction, in my opinion. We'll set people straight. And by the way, if you're under some notion, okay, that college kids have not been paid until now, I got this just in for you here. The only thing different from my time to today, it's legal. People were paying back then almost the same amount of money that they're paying today. Now you're just making it legal. Can you imagine if you're SMU right now and the things that you were doing back in the 80s are totally legal today? Your program was put on the death penalty. You notice that no other program has ever had that happen, okay, ever, again, other than SMU, the death penalty. And it was so unjust because today, the things that we're doing now, SMU was ahead of their time looking out for their kids, and they wanted to win. But do you know how SMU got the death penalty? Schools like Texas, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, the Big Ten schools, all called the NCAA on them. And that's kind of what's going on here. We're going to get into that story here in a minute. So it's 24 hours after we had a show yesterday, and we were talking about the great additions that the Philadelphia Eagles have added to their football roster. It's been great. It really has. And now you're getting people making comments on what they're potentially going to see here. Brandon Graham made a comment either today or yesterday it was, where he said that Jonathan Gannon, let me quote it here, is going to open it up. What exactly does that mean? Jonathan Gannon is going to open it up, the defensive coordinator of the Eagles. What does that exactly mean? More blitzing? More man coverage? What does that mean? We're going to open it up. More aggressive, old school Jimmy Johnson kind of stuff? An old school Jim Johnson kind of defense? Interesting. I can't wait to see this. I can't wait to see what Brandon Graham actually means by this. Opening it up. When you've got the type of talent, especially in your front sevens right now, that the Eagles have and the Eagles have brought in, to me, I want to see a more aggressive defense. I don't want to see quarterbacks rolling into Lincoln Financial with a 90% completion percentage. I don't want to see Dak sitting back there all night long having the opportunity to go to 3 checkdowns. I don't want to see that. I want to see aggressive style of football. You got a football roster. We said it yesterday. That is primed to win 12, possibly 13 ball games. Right? Act like it. Don't be conservative. There's no reason to be conservative in the NFC. AFC, you got to be a little conservative because there's a boatload more good teams in that conference than there are in the NFC. So what does that exactly mean? I'm expecting more blitzes. I'm expecting a lot of play and a lot of situational plays with Hassan Reddick. You know, your two biggest stars, who should be the two biggest stars by the end of the Eagles season on defense? Who do you think should be the biggest stars? Me? Should be Nakobe Dean and Hassan Reddick. Those two guys need to be an impactful duo on the field for the Eagle defense all season long. Look what the impact was with the Rams. You had Von Miller and you had Aaron Donald. They weren't really all that spectacular against the run, but they were exceptional because you had also a cover corner in Jalen Ramsey. Okay? Let's bring it. You possibly, would we agree Like Otis, how about this? Would we agree the Eagles may have the best duo of cornerbacks in the NFC? Right? Dean and Reddick have to be playmakers. And if you get anything from your tackle positions or you get anything from Sweat, fantastic. But those two corners now give you the ability to do what Brandon Graham is saying Jonathan Gannon is going to do. You know what that is? Let's open this bitch up. Let's get this bitch going here. Okay? There's no excuses to see that style of defense. Brian Dawkins on this network made it very clear. Seth Joyner has made it clear. Gary Cobb has made it clear. Everyone has made it clear. We can't play that style of defense next year, especially when we've upgraded the roster. Fair? Okay. So I was happy to hear that. Now, look, they're going through schemes right now, okay? It's helmets and shorts. It's OTAs. You know, it's mini camp stuff, you know, that kind of stuff. So what they're getting is they're basically getting a skeleton of what is going to be implemented this year. You're practicing pretty much right now kind of the skeleton, the blueprint of what they're going to try to accomplish this coming 2022 season on defense. They're giving you the parameters. We're going to blitz more. We're going to be more aggressive. We're going to play more man coverage here. We're going to play 34-43 because of the depth we have in the front seven. That's a good sign here. So that's what's being said here. That's what's being practiced. You know, you could say one thing to the media and practice something else and do something completely different. We see teams do that all the time. So that's a great sign. Jonathan Gannon is going to evolve, it seems, because he's got an upgraded personnel. Okay? D says need a safety. I'm all right with Marcus Epps. Okay? I'm all right with Marcus Epps. I think we need to give him an opportunity to play. Okay? I think they need to give him an opportunity. W2 says this. Did you see how big A.J. Brown was? That guy is huge. I saw him coming out of the locker room and running onto the field. He is, man. That guy's a big dude. That guy is a big dude. All right? Okay? Big dude, man. Big dude. Otis, thank you so much for coming aboard. We really appreciate you stepping in. If this is your first time, thank you so much, man. Okay? Thank you again. Please, people, hit the like button. We thank you so much. All right. I want to have a little fun today. You know, Big Sills does a lot of homework here. Okay? By the way, we're efforting our friend Curt Schilling today. And Tony Sarakusa from the Last Word on College Football. That'll be in hour number 2, 4:30 Eastern time. We're going to try to get our friend Curt Schilling on the program today. Curt said, let's see if we could try to make it happen today. So we're going to go ahead and try to make that happen here. Maybe I just got a text here. And let's see. Let's try it. Okay. So, yeah, Xander, just give him a call. He just texted me. See if we can make it happen maybe like at maybe 5:30 Eastern. Let's see if we can make that happen. So Curt just texted me. I don't have a problem opening up the first hour of the show, and it's all us. Okay? Thank you, Otis. I appreciate you being part of this here, man. All right. Let's have some fun here. Where would you rank the Eagles' offense with the other 32 NFL teams? Where would you rank the current offense? And I get this. I know it's on paper. I know it's on paper. Okay? So we're going on May 19th. Okay? May 19th. I get it. Where would you rank this offense? A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Miles Sanders, and a top-flight O-line. Quez Watkins, part of it, with depth. Where would you rank the offense? Okay? Very cool. Very cool. 5:30 Eastern time, Curt Schilling. The legend himself, who won 108 games for the Phillies, should be in baseball's Hall of Fame. Very cool. So Curt Schilling will join us, and Tony Sarakusa will join us at 4:30. All right. 10, 12, top 5. Because of the rushing attack we have, if Hurts plays decent, no. W2, with what you have right now, I got to show you guys something here. I can't believe how and where I'd put the Eagles. Okay? I can't believe it. I cannot believe where I've put the Eagles. This is offense. This is not the team. This is not the coaching staff. I think you may be shocked. Here we go. Please hit the like button. 32nd offense in the NFL, according to Big Sills. Chicago Bears. Quarterback sucks. No weapons. Worst O-line, maybe, in the NFL. 31, Texans. Mills. Okay. Traded away DeAndre Hopkins. And you traded away a top 5 quarterback. I mean, I don't know where you're going. 30, Panthers. Christian McCaffrey, I can't count on him. Constantly banged up. Very little in the passing game. Sam Darnold, I don't know. Drafted kid, too. I'm not really looking at Matt Rule and going like this. Boy, I'll tell you what. You know that contract that David Tepper gave him, the owner of the Panthers? Somehow I'm being underwhelmed here. Okay? I am clearly being underwhelmed here. 29, I think you're shocked when I say this. Seahawks. I've got the Seahawks here. Come on, man. Geno Smith, Drew Lock, and nobody. Rashad Penny. DK Metcalf, okay. O-lines and tatters. I don't see it. 28, Falcons. Marcus Mariota. Now, you do have some components that you can look at with future. They get a wide receiver. They also, Kyle Pitts from a year ago, quarterback position in the O-line. I don't see it. I don't see it in Atlanta. They move off of Matt Ryan. I'm putting the top 32 offenses in the NFL. Wait till you see where the Eagles land. Also, your favorite football team, you may agree or disagree. Number 27, I got the Steelers here. Revamping the O-line. I do like Najee Harris. I think Najee had, if I'm not mistaken, right, Xander? I think he was over 1,100 yards last year. Not a bad year for a rebuild O-line and a quarterback who was shot in Ben Roethlisberger. But that whole offense has to be revamped. They've done a nice job at retooling the O-line. They'll figure out the wide receiver position, but the quarterback position is still a question mark in Pittsburgh. How funny is that? Pittsburgh has a question mark. They haven't had one in 17 years. They got one now going into 2022. 26, I got the Jets. Zach Wilson, not sold. Just not sold. Okay? We'll see. 25, I've got the Lions. There's some components there. Jared Goff isn't terrible. He's just terribly inconsistent. He'll go through a stretch of games where he'll look unbelievable for 5 games, and you'll go like this. This guy's spectacular. And then all of a sudden for the next 3 games, you're like this. This guy's got a lot of Carson Wentz in him. Wentz will look insane against, like, the Patriots. He'll kill the Bills and then just, you know what, all over himself against the Jaguars. And you're like, how can that be? Or that horrific 8 minutes of football versus the Titans, you're like, that's the worst football I've ever seen a quarterback play. It really was. Carson Wentz last year against the Titans, there was like 8 minutes of football that was maybe the worst 8 minutes of football I've ever seen a quarterback in the NFL ever play. I think you may be shocked here. Patriots are 24. Mac Jones, I don't know. Mac Jones is, I don't know, you see him being better than Kirk Cousins? Okay, and you know what? And you know why I bring up Kirk Cousins? I think Kirk Cousins is the floor before you start to get to the elite guys. Okay? That's how I look at Kurt and why you hear me bring him up. And why you hear me, always start there. Because I think then you go up. I don't see Mac Jones being better than Kirk Cousins, right? I mean, he's like a Sam Bradford kind of guy. Or, I don't know. I don't know do you see greatness in Mac Jones? I see good. I see stable. Protect the ball. How about this? Would this be fair? With Mac Jones, I do this. Okay? You know what? Would this be a fair comparison? I see Chad Pennington. Chad Pennington was accurate. He was durable. He was a good quarterback. Right? I see Trent Dilfer with Mac Jones. Dilfer had a winning record, was on many winning games, actually won a Super Bowl. He's kind of that guy. Okay? I mean, and by the way, that's not bad. Okay? And listen, he's got great coaching around him. That is a factor. Xander, you're right. It is a factor. They're going to win games because they're going to put Mac in a position. But they got to put a boatload of talent around him. And it's just not there yet in New England. By the way, I'm not saying he sucks. I just don't know if I see greatness, okay? Hey, by the way, did he have a better year than what Tagovailoa and all the rest of those guys? And do I look at him better than Zach Wilson and Justin Fields and Tua? Yeah. Yeah, but I'm talking about being elite, winning Super Bowls. 23. You ready? After I went and I did the rankings of the offense, it made me really think of some of the shit that I've been saying to you guys. I got the Commanders at 23. I think their wide receiving core is upgraded. I think their O-line still needs some work. I think they can run the ball, but it's all going to come down to Carson Wentz. And the fact that he has to be consistent. He can't beat the Bills and then shit the bed against the Jags. You need somewhere in the middle there. I don't need you to play spectacular all the time, but I can't have you play like that against the Jags, especially in critical times when I need you to win ball games. Is that fair? The Commanders' offense at 23, it may be a little low, but then again, I'm looking at who they are right now on paper on May 19th. Okay? He was talking about the okay. Najee Harris had 1,200 yards last year. Dude, I like him. I liked him coming out of college. By the way, you're never going to see a superstar running back at Alabama being taken in the second round ever again like they did with the dude in Tennessee. My wife and I'll never forget it on draft day. Me and her looked at each other and we went like this. And I'll never forget that draft. I went like this. I go, they drafted that guy in the second round at Alabama. She's like this. That guy is a horse. My wife's got a great eye for talent. And I went, I can't believe that guy lasted to the second round. Can you believe it, man? I mean, Derrick Henry went in the second round. And I think it was because of Richardson. And everybody looked at those Bama backs because of Clinton Richardson. Then all of a sudden you went, how do we know that King's not going to be that guy? Dude, he wasn't awful, but he wasn't the player when he came out of Alabama. I think he was like the third pick. He wasn't the third pick in the draft. But if you took him somewhere in like the later first round or in the second or third, he'd have been a decent pick for you. But he was just drafted so high. And it was a mistake. I actually have the Giants at 22 here. I know. Daniel Jones. Saquon Barkley, though. It's an improved offensive line. They did a lot of drafting in the O-line for the Giants. I think their wide receiver room isn't bad. I don't think that they're awful. They're awful on defense. And they've done some work in the O-line. But I've got the Giants at 22. I think you're going to see improvement with this next team here at 21. The Jaguars, because of Doug Peterson. I think Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence are without a doubt going to make a difference in that franchise. It may be subtle this year, but the running back that they got, NTN from Clemson, the quarterback, some of the components they have at wide receiver, the offensive line is not horrible. The Jaguars, they have some pieces there, okay? And with better coaching, I think that the Jags make an improvement. 21st best offense in the National Football League. I'm giving you the Big Sills offensive rankings right now. And I'm doing that because of the new components that have been added to the Eagles. This is crazy. When I really put everything down on paper here, some of the shit I've been telling you, man, it just doesn't add up to this list. It's crazy. Number 20, I got the Titans. They fall because of the loss of A.J. Brown and because of the loss of Julio Jones. Okay? Ryan Tannehill and Derek King. I mean, dude, there is no question the running back is an MVP candidate each and every single year. He's an MVP candidate. He's spectacular. I think he had 978 yards in like 8 or 9 games last year. Guy was on his pace to have a 2,000-yard rushing season. He may have broken, because of the extra game, he may have gotten 2,100 yards. And he may have broken Eric Dickerson's record. He's a spectacular football player, but I just don't know if that's enough to become the number 1 seed in the AFC with all the talent that they have in the AFC, okay? I just don't think they do. 19, I got the Dolphins. Dolphins are now a top 20 offense. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, they can run the ball. They get the offensive tackle from the Saints. It's all going to be on the play of Tua. I think Tagovailoa has a decent year this year. I like what they're doing in Miami. I want to see it implemented on the field, but paper-wise, they've made massive improvements. Don't have a bad tight end either. That's a good-looking group. That's the kind of football team, that Miami team, that could actually make some headways. Okay? And after the first 4 weeks of the season, you may be doing this. That Dolphin offense looks pretty good. It's all going to be how they get out of the gate. Running the football, play action has to be something that is being implemented in Miami because he needs that. Tua, if you go back to Tua and you go back and watch him and you watch what they did at Alabama, play action was enormous. Play action is a staple in the Alabama offense. Okay? One thing Saban has not gotten away from, he wants a power team. He doesn't like the finesse teams. That's why play action will always be implemented in that Alabama offense because it protects the quarterbacks and keeps them safe. You start getting away from play action and you start becoming a finesse offense, I think sometimes this is what really got into the way of the Steelers becoming that dominant team again. Okay? They made their bones, just like the Eagles have made their bones running the ball. The reason that the Philadelphia Eagles have 14 playoff wins since 2000 ain't because you have a ton of wide receivers that have played for you. It's because you've had a ton of great old linemen. Think about that, for instance. Think of this for a second. You would say this, right? The Philadelphia Eagles have had more star offensive linemen than any other position on the team and in the organization since 2000. Is that fair? You've had more star offensive linemen. You've had a few wideouts that were decent. You've had some defensive players that were good. But you have had Hall of Fame guys. Hall of Fame guys play for you. Okay? And that O-line. You got an offensive lineman right now that's going to go to Canton. I mean, you got another guy who may end up going to Canton at the left tackle position. Okay? It's the number one position in Philadelphia. It's not wide out. You've had some good running backs. That's a fair comment. But you haven't had the running backs like you've had in the O-line. Tight end too, East Side Monster. You've had some really good tight ends. What's the kid's name that was with Donovan? Was it Chad Lewis? Was Chad Lewis there before Zach Ertz? Is that the kid's name? What up, Fred? Didn't it go like Chad Lewis, Zach Ertz, and now you got Dallas Goedert? It's pretty good. It's pretty good, man. Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good transition there. Those three guys, okay, over your last 25 years, that's pretty good, man. It's pretty good stuff there. All right. I can't believe I put this down this low. Jess, that O-line has been tremendous. I got the Vikings at 18. Justin Jefferson, Thielen, tight end's not bad. Running back, okay? Quarterback. Offensive line needs some work, though. That's why I put it a little lower. Okay? And look, I'm not trying to stir shit here. I'm just looking at with the roster and the depth chart. I got the Vikings 18th. Yeah, but I'm not talking about the defense right now. I'm talking just about that offense. Hey, Jess, listen. I'm with Xander. I think they're gonna battle Green Bay this year for the North. I do. Oh, Chris, I'm gonna get to Saban in a minute. Number 17. I can't believe where I'm at already, and I haven't mentioned the Philadelphia Eagles. 17, the Colts. Addressed the wideout position. Jonathan Taylor turned out to be a hell of a back, 1,800 yards. They bring in Matt Ryan. Offensive line is good. I think they have the 17th best offense in the National Football League. Number 16. This may be high. Who would have thought that I would put the Saints ahead of the Vikings and Dolphins in my Big Sills top 32 offenses in the NFL? But I did. I think they got Olave, Jarvis Landry, Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, Jameis Winston. Did throw for 5,000 yards, 3 years. I mean, guy was 5-1 before he got hurt. I mean, dude, I think don't go to sleep on New Orleans here. They have a top flight defense on the other side. Number 15. The Arizona Cardinals are 15. Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins. I think A.J. Green is still there too, if I'm not mistaken. Connor running the ball. O-line, I would like to see a little bit more. Okay? I know. This is sinful. But I got to be fair. Cardinals 15. Number 14. The San Francisco 49ers. The reason that I have them this low is because they're still indecisive. Okay? Hey, W2, I'm stunned where I'm at right now. I can't do things just to get people upset. I've got to have some credibility here. But I think the decision of them flip-flopping and not thinking Trey Lance or Jimmy Garoppolo, I think that's a problem in San Francisco until they solidify that. Number 13. The Baltimore Ravens. Who's playing wideout? Who's helping Lamar run the ball? Okay? He's a fabulous talent. They got a really good O-line. It's a great organization, and they got a great play-calling coach. But I don't really think they have a lot there. Number 12. The Las Vegas Raiders. Added Devontae Adams. They got Hunter Renfrow. They can run the ball. They got a top-flight quarterback. Now they got Josh McDaniel as their head coach. I can't believe where I'm at already. Number 11. We're getting close to the top 10 now. The Denver Broncos. Judy. Russell Wilson. Not a bad running game. Good in the O-line. Not spectacular. I have them 11. I'd like to see more of an addition to the tight end position. Here are now the top 10 teams in offense in the National Football League with Big Sills. Number 10. The Cleveland Browns are at 10. Deshaun Watson. They get Amari Cooper. You got Kareem Hunt. You've got Nick Chubb. You've got some really good-looking football players. Okay? You really do. That's a good-looking group. O-line's good, too. I wouldn't say exceptional. I wouldn't say a top 5 O-line, but I'd say top 8. They're good. They're good enough. At number 9, the 9th best offense, according to Big Sills, is the Philadelphia Eagles. A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert, Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins, and the second best O-line or the first best O-line in all of football. And Jalen Hurts can win games. You see what you traditionally have with some of these other teams? You've got really good components, but watch this. Jalen's not a 5 on a scale of 1 to 5 position-wise. Watch this. The wide receiving room now in Philadelphia went from what, a 3 to a 4? Tight end, 4. Running game, 5. You see where I'm going here? Like, let me pick a team. Vikings, quarterback, 4. Wide receivers, 5. O-line, 3. Tight end, 3. You see what I'm saying? I'm looking at it through the prism. Tight end, wide receiver group, O-line, and quarterback. And if you took the quarterback out of the room, where would your offense rank? Think about that. Watch this. If I took all the quarterbacks off these teams, hang on for a second. If I took all the quarterbacks off these teams, the Eagles would be ranked higher. 5 in the O-line, 4 in the wide receiver, 4 in the tight end grouping, 5 in the run game. Your quarterback's a 4. That's how I looked at it. If I took your quarterback off that team, okay? If I took your quarterback, watch this. If I take, let's do one of the teams here. If I took Tua off the Dolphins, 5 wide receiver, 4 run game, 3 tight end. You see where I'm going here? This is a unit. This is about a unit. So I got the Eagles 9th. 8th. Look at where we are now here. When I start naming these teams ahead of you here. I've got the Bengals at 8. Quarterbacks a 5. Receivers are a 5. Tight end is a 4. O-line's a 3. Okay? Running game is a 4. Okay? That Mixon kid can play. They got a good running game. Even with a suspect O-line. You're going to hate this one. I got the Cowboys at 7. They were the number 1 offense in the NFL last year. Prescott, same ranking as Jalen. In my opinion, he gets a 4. Running game, it's lesser than Philly. It's a 3. O-line's 4. Tight ends a 4. Wide receiver group, CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup. I know he's injured. I get it. Okay? I get it. Okay? Xander hates where the Cowboys are at 7. Screw you. Yeah. Number 6, the Buffalo Bills. Xander, he's been drinking. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Out of all the Cowboys, anything ranked ahead of the Philadelphia Eagles, you guys shit on it. I love it. Hey, you took all of what I said. Everyone's like, God, his list is great. And then I say, Cowboys, list sucks. Oh, man. I got the Bills at 6. It's a good-looking football team. Really good O-line. Now they add Cook to the run game. Their quarterback's a 5. Their receivers are 5. I think the Bills actually may have the best overall roster in the NFL. Number 5, I get this. Wide receiver room will be an issue, but it's never been in Green Bay. Packers are at 5. Dude, he's the reigning 2-time MVP in a row. They can run the ball still with Aaron Jones. Their O-line's one of the best, if not the best, with the Eagles in the NFL. Okay, they got a really good O-line, and they have Rodgers. You put that dynamic combination together, and they can run the ball, they're going to develop guys. So I got them at 5. 4, the Chargers. Whew. Mike Williams. I mean, Mike Williams is a good-looking ball player. O-line, much improved O-line. Justin Herbert, sensational. Okay? They got a really good wide receivers group. I mean, they can run the ball too. Eckler's a very underrated running back. He can catch passes out of the backfield. I'd love to have that guy in Philly. The Chargers are a really good-looking offense. Number 3, the Chiefs. Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes. Okay? You still have Travis Kelce. Juju Smith-Schuster is a downgrade. But where you're going to see an improvement, Juju Smith-Schuster runs better routes than Tyreek Hill. That's not what Tyreek Hill did. He did a lot of those jet sweeps. You did those 4-yard out passes, and he took off down the field. There's going to be more of a traditional passing game in Kansas City than there's been in the last 2 years. They've never really been able to get another guy on the other side of Tyreek Hill. Maybe they'll be more balanced this year. I just think when you have a quarterback like Mahomes, who's a generational football player, and you have a play caller like Andy Reid, who's had massive success everywhere he's been, even as an assistant coach, they're just too good, okay? I got the Rams number 2. I think the Rams offense, adding Allen Robinson, they're going to get Odell Beckham probably somewhere in October or November. Their running game, in my opinion, needs to get better. I think they have some issues in their offensive line. You know, they lose their veteran offensive lineman, their left tackle. That's going to be a factor. Stafford is great. And when you have Cooper Kupp, so you have Cooper Kupp and Allen Robinson now. And then when you get Beckham back, man, is that going to be a terror show? And they're the reigning champs. So, and you got a play caller in Sean McVay, who's awful good too. Number 1, the Bucs. Mike Evans and all the players that they have on that football team. And now it looks like Gronk may not play this year. Okay. But they got a good running attack. Their offensive line is one of the better groups. And plus you have the GOAT. Okay. So I got the Bucs there. Here are my 32 teams again. The best offenses in the National Football League. Bears. They're going from 32 up. Bears at 32, Texans 31, Panthers 30, Seahawks 29, Falcons 28, Steelers 27, Jets 26, Lions 25, Patriots 24, Commanders 23, Giants 22, Jaguars 21, Titans 20, Dolphins 19, Vikings 18, Colts 17, Saints 16, Cardinals 15, 49ers at 14, Ravens at 13, Raiders at 12, Broncos at 11, Browns at 10, Eagles at 9, Bengals at 8, Cowboys at 7, Bills at 6, maybe too low. You could maybe change Bills and Packers. Packers at 5, Chargers at 4, Chiefs at 3, Rams at 2, and Buccaneers at 1. That's my top 32 offenses in the National Football League. Xander says, Bills, Cowboys, Bengals, you botched. Rest, I agree. Let's hear your thoughts in on this. I got the Eagles 9th. Okay? So you've gone from an offense last year, in my opinion, that was down in the 20s, to a top 10 offense in the league. Not just the NFC. In the league. Okay? Am I wrong? Paul says not too crazy. Cowboys are definitely too low. 7th? We'll see how he reacts with an older Zeke Elliott. I get Pollard is probably going to be the bell cow guy, but you don't have Amari in there, okay? And you've got an aging old line. Eagles are like 12 to 14. They're top 5 in my eyes. Who? Eagles? I don't think so. You think you Packers, Chargers, Chiefs, Rams, Buccaneers. You're in that group? So you have a quarterback that can compete with Rodgers, Herbert, Mahomes, Stafford, and Buccaneers. No Bengals are top 5. Their O-line's terrible. You can't have a quarterback get sacked 9 times and think he's going to survive. He was sacked 9 times in a playoff game and then 7 in the Super Bowl. Okay? I want to see that group play this year. You know they've changed 4 of the 5 O-linemen out? We'll see how that continuity plays out. They got to need a lot of mini camps and OTAs before they get into training camp. You know what? I would say this to you. It takes almost as long to develop an offensive line as it does a quarterback. Realistically, it's pretty decent list. Each team is a spot or 2. Right. That's probably right. Eagles can get to 7. You know, depending on, hey, Carlson, depending on the play of the quarterback, of course, and the health of the team. Cowboys O-line, not the same. Agreed, William. Agreed. Older and losing players in the offensive line, okay? Remember something, the Cowboys were the number one offense in the league last year. I know some of those were empty calories because they were behind in games sometimes. Okay? Right? So, you don't think that really having a top 10 offense, that's quite an improvement. You've gone from here on May 19th, talking about an offense a year ago who was down in the low 20s, into being 9 going into training camp. You may have had the biggest improvement of any football. I'm trying to look at the list here. Maybe the Browns have a better. No, the Browns, people thought the Browns had a Super Bowl roster last year. The Saints and the Eagles probably are surprises in the top 20. Who's Jalen Reagor? I mean, seriously, I can't wait until we get the chance to stop talking about him. I want to hit more on this list. I also want to get to the Saban and Jimbo Fisher. It's the best thing in the world for college football and for sports. God, I love that. God, I love that. God, I love it. God, I love it. God, the SEC just got a little bit, and college football just got a little bit more interesting. Wouldn't that be great if NFL coaches were talking shit like that to one another? When Jimbo Fisher's making $10 million a year and Nick Saban's making $10 million a year and they're barking and calling each other cheaters, is great for the sport. It's great for the sport. You now knock the NFL and the NBA off the front page when you do that. And anytime you can do shit like that, you're in. That's Jerry Jones or David Hill. You're absolutely in. The Nil drama is spectacular. It's the greatest thing ever invented. See, I'm a content creator. That was spectacular today. Those two guys going after one another, shit, you can't have better drama, man. That's why sports is the greatest reality television show on the planet. There's nothing like it. All right. Morgan & Morgan, where the fee is free. My friends, I tell you this all the time, picking an attorney is one of the most important things that you could possibly do. If you're hurt or injured on the job, finding that attorney is the most important thing you can do for your family, because you need the proper restitution. For the people, I say this to you all the time. It's not a slogan. It's who they are. It's what they do. This is what John Morgan has done and his family have done for 25 years. They've done this here. And now John and his wife, who have been doing it for 30, man, they've collected over $13.5 billion for their clients and settlements. The biggest casualty law firm in the United States. Size matters. That's why when you go to battle and all the army of attorneys that Morgan & Morgan have, you're not going to be defeated. Over 800 attorneys in offices in Philadelphia, New York, Florida, across the country. Man, they kick people's asses all the time because they go in there and they are not going to be intimidated. And no one's going to just say this. It's a fender bender. Call them, 800-512-1600. That's 800-512-1600. The consultation's free. 800-512-1600. And when you call Morgan & Morgan, do me a favor. Tell them Big Sil sent you.
When choosing a lawyer for your injury case, you may ask, does the size of the law firm matter? Well, of course it does. The insurance company, they're huge with unlimited resources. And whether your case is big or small, they're built to bully you out of the money you're owed. But here's the good news. We're big too, the biggest actually. And we're built to fight to make them pay for all that was taken from you. Size is our strength. There's only one Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on three. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
At Action News, we cherish every moment, and it's our profound responsibility to bring you closer to your world. Never miss a moment. Trust the people at Action News.
In Philadelphia, we celebrated the miracle with pride only 5 years ago. And then the following morning, IBEW Local 98 members went back to work, building this city, rescuing our communities from decay, and inspiring the young men and women of the region to take pride in who we are. Like the Cats, Local 98 members believe in hope.
To learn more about who we are, what we do, and career opportunities with Local 98, visit us, IBEW98.org.
All right, did you know I was the Mommy Slam Dunk Champion?
Really?
Yes, really, don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, go to left, fake 'em out. Mama, go up, up, up.
She did it.
Again? You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh. At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass, free.
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that.
Go for the midnight dares. Go for the game. Go for the hits. Go for the fans. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Philly Sports Wrap? I think you gave us the topic at the top of the hour. I love that topic. Ranking coaching staffs. We may just have to do that at the top of the hour here. Don't forget Curt Schilling and also Tony Sarakusa, not Gusa, Kusa, from The Last Word on College Football will join us at 4:30 Eastern Time. Curt Schilling from the barn in Massachusetts will join us 5:30 Eastern Time. Can't wait to talk to a guy who should be in baseball's Hall of Fame. What a phenomenal big game pitcher Curt Schilling was, and his resume is second to none. I mean, the job he did in Philly, I believe if I'm not mistaken, he was an NLCS MVP for the Phillies. Guy was a World Series most valuable player in the desert with the Snakes. 200-game winner, low threes ERA, one of the best postseason pitchers in baseball history. You talk about the top 20 big game pitchers of all time, Schilling's name's in that list. Okay? He's in that list. So we'll talk to the legendary ace at 5:30 Eastern Time. Before I get into that topic that we're going to do at the top of the hour, I love that. And I want to expand a little bit more on this list here. I got the Eagles ranked 9th out of 32 teams. I think that's pretty epic, actually, from where you were a year ago. Okay? Let me ask you this. I want to hit on this Saban thing. Guys, embrace this. You see, it was taken out of context what Nick Saban did last night. You know what he was doing last night? He was telling his boosters, you see how the world is set up right now, college football-wise, where all the rules are equal? We're going to win that because we outwork people, our resources, the conference, and we're Alabama. Well, that world's over with. The new nil rule has changed the game. You have now opened up Pandora's box in Texas. Do you actually think you're going to out-booster Texas Longhorns, A&M, Baylor, Texas Tech, SMU, with those oil dudes in a state that loves football? And if you put two tickets on the table, Cowboys or Longhorns, I don't know which one they would take. They may take the Texas Longhorns. That's a state that football is king. The 3 states that are going to dominate because of this new nil rule are Texas, Ohio, and Florida. Why do you think Saban went after the Texas schools, is going after Miami? Because the boosters now know you have an open door policy to offer a kid anything they need to get that kid to that program. He knows it's changed. Look, Indiana Hoosiers, not happening. San Diego State, not happening. The Oregon State Beavers, not happening. The Texas Longhorns, Oklahoma Sooners, that's happening. You got boosters out the ass. And what he was doing last night was he was telling the boosters, you got to up your game. Well, when I say it, it's kind of casual news. When the GOAT says it, and he made a reference to his guys, Texas A&M, and he was doing it vaguely, said they paid for every single guy that they recruited. What he meant to say was they paid for every single guy that's on that number 1 recruiting class. Not every guy. You set yourself up to be wrong when you say every guy. Okay? Hey, Kyle, I'll get to that. Let me finish this take, and I'll get to that to the top. Hang on here. Okay? So when Saban was doing that, he wasn't really taking a shot at Jimbo Fisher's A&M program. But what happens now is the media presents this to Jimbo. He said you bought every player that's on your roster. It's not the case. So Jimbo fires back. And get this. You know, Jimbo worked for him at LSU. And Jimbo knows some of the dark secrets. And that comment that he made today, I was knocked on my ass. Hey, we put this guy up like he's the czar of football. Find out in his past and some of the stuff that he's done, you won't like it. See how he got to where he is and some of the deplorable things and despicable things he's done. I've never heard a coach say that so openly like that, like Jimbo did about Nick Saban. This is great. They're both right. Saban knows the game's changed. Why do you think Coach Krzyzewski quit Duke? He knows the game's changed. Okay? Dude. Fantastic. Best thing I've seen in a long time in college football. The SEC schedule just got even more exciting. You're not going to – do you know, according to Forbes, the number 1 college football program in the United States is Texas A&M? Okay? Franklin Field, and that hotel that's across the street, you spend $15,000 a night to stay there. And most people on game day, when they have it there, College Station, spend 2 nights. You're going to give the program $30,000, and the hotel is filled with A&M boosters. All that money goes into the football program. Do you know the money that goes around A&M and the Texas Longhorn program? Alabama can't raise that kind of money. Look at the Forbes list. The most valued college football programs are Texas A&M and the Texas Longhorns. The money they generate, that's why both their programs, they got $11 million coaches. That's why that's why they can fire a guy like Charlie Strong, pay him $8 million and hire another guy for $9 million. Dude, I was like, oh my God. I have never seen anything like that. All right. I love that topic. Let's take a look at that. Where do you think your coaches rank? I saw, hey, Steve, well, they paid $1 million for that kid to go to Jacksonville State. You know, welcome to the big time, Dion. Your program is nowhere without that nil rule. You think, watch this. This is going to sound so psycho when I say this. You're an African-American college football player, and you're being recruited by Alabama and Jacksonville State. Where are you going to play? Dion? And the history of the all-black colleges? Why would I go there? I'm trying to make hundreds of millions of dollars for my family, generational wealth. And me playing at Jacksonville State instead of LSU or Alabama or Clemson or Ohio State, I'm not doing that to build your program up, Hoss. You're going to have to do something for me and my family. So paying $1 million, get used to it, Dion. You're playing with the big boys now. You think you're going to get some kid from Belglades, Florida, to go to Jacksonville State because of the heritage of the all-black colleges? When that kid's trying to create generational wealth for his family and dig his family out of poverty? What are you, crazy? Some of these coaches are so ignorant to that. You're going to do it for the old college pat on the back. Give me a break. Well, the history. Hey, dude, I'm not building this program for you. What are you offering me? How much money are you paying me? Nothing. You're coming here because you. That's all right. LSU wants to pay me and my family $100,000 a year. See you later. Don't come knocking on my door again. What about the history? Yeah, great. I hope it works out for you. Okay? Hope it works out for you. Come on, man. Jackson State. You're right. I'm sorry. My mess up. That's right, William. Kids want the paycheck, dog. All right. Let me take that time out. Please hit the like button. Keep it right here on the National Football Show.
When choosing a lawyer for your injury case, you may ask, does the size of the law firm matter? Well, of course it does. The insurance company, they're huge with unlimited resources. And whether your case is big or small, they're built to bully you out of the money you're owed. But here's the good news. We're big too, the biggest actually. And we're built to fight to make them pay for all that was taken from you. Size is our strength. There's only one Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on three. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Do you stream on a Roku, Fire Stick, Android TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
The big story on Action News.
Search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
In Philadelphia, we celebrated the miracle with pride only 5 years ago. And then the following morning, IBEW Local 98 members went back to work, building this city, rescuing our communities from decay, and inspiring the young men and women of the region to take pride in who we are. Like the Cats, Local 98 members believe in hope.
To learn more about who we are, what we do, and career opportunities with Local 98, visit us, IBEW98.org.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass. Free.
What's that?
A rocks glass?
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that.
Holy shit. And you're telling me I can get one of these glasses for free?
That's right. 1 free rocks glass per customer with each first-time purchase of Stateside Vodka. So good, it just disappears.
Welcome back. Hour 2. National Football Show. Your boy Big Sills. Tony Sarakusa will be with us at the bottom of the hour. Last word on college football. And then at 5:30 Eastern, the legendary Philly himself, Curt Schilling, will join us. And we'll talk a little sports and whatever with Curt Schilling. Can you imagine something about Curt Schilling? He's got to sit around, and I'm going to say it. He's got to sit around and people who barely played sports in their life and listen to them debate about his impact on the game and keep him out of the Hall of Fame because of his political beliefs. Can you imagine that? You're keeping a guy who performed at the highest level in the biggest critical games, in the biggest moments, out of something that's rightfully his because you don't like who he voted for. You should have your vote taken from you. I don't give a shit about what and who you think or what. I only care that you take a look at what a guy's career is in between the first and third baselines, the hash marks, on the ice, on the court. I don't give a shit about you caring, well, he's a Republican. He's a Democrat. That is so uncool. Those baseball Hall of Fame voters, okay, in my opinion, are all criminals. They're criminals. You keep Bonds and Clemens out of the Hall of Fame because you think you're doctors. Well, they took steroids. What the hell would you know about trying to further your career to play longer, to make the most money you can, to expand your legacy? You know why? Because you're cowards and you're afraid. And that's why you hide behind a piece of paper. And that's why you hide behind a pencil. Because you never did anything in your life. You sat in the stands and passed judgment on others. And that's why you're a loser. That's why people in my business hate me, because 99% of the people that are in my business are losers. They hate people like me who have been on both sides of the mic. They hate me. Do everything they possibly can to make sure I don't further and expand. Well, they can't stop this. Okay? Can't. I don't give a shit anymore. I'll say whatever I feel like saying now. And I hate the majority of the people that are in my business. Anybody who complains about a broadcaster who's an athlete making $30, $40 million and it's another broadcaster who wasn't an athlete, it comes from a place of jealousy. I root for everybody to have success until you start shitting on me. Those places like Deadspin, I call it shit spin, or awful announcing. Those are all liberals who have never done anything in their life. Never competed for anything. By the way, you don't have to have been a pro athlete to have competed. You could have did it on any level. Just do it. But those guys were the last guy picked in the pickup game, and those were the guys that you killed in dodgeball. That's the guy you hit in the face with the dodgeball, and you blew their brains out with the dodgeball, and he's sitting right there, and you still plastered him. Oh, man, I love them guys. Okay? You know, you play that. Oh, I love playing dodgeball. And all the dorks in the room with the protractors and like the Bunsen burners, I'd kill them guys. Hey, man, I was a total jack. I'd get that ball. That guy fell down. I'd go like this. This is going to hurt a little. I'd tell him, too. This is going to hurt a little bit. If I were you, ducking ain't going to matter. Bang, right upside the head, knocked the kid on his ass. First thing to hit was the back of his head. Of course, they called me in the office. Why'd you do that hard to him? Well, because he was there. Girls mad too. Oh, absolutely. And the girls too. The girls will start laughing. Yeah, you hit him in the face. He got a big old circle on his. And I go, yeah, I know. Can I get a kiss? No. Chalk it up sports. I wasn't a bully, man. No way. I don't believe in bullying. No way. Actually, if I saw it, I'd kick your ass for bullying somebody else. I'd say, why don't you try that with me? Honest to God. I used to do that. Why don't you do that to me now? Try that on me. Bitch ass. No, I don't think so. I used to see that stuff. I go, why don't you try that on Big Sills? I'm 135-0 for a reason. I'm the reigning heavyweight champion of the world. Big Sills don't get beat. Oh, man. I'd bully you. Oh, yeah, okay. Xander, I would have put you in a slingshot and shot you across the link. Hey, you would have thought I was Achilles. Xander's the arrow. Boom. Hey, guys, please hit the like button. Thank you so much for coming aboard. Yeah, Xander would have been like the arrow, and I'm Achilles pulling that baby back. Oh, man. Hey, question for you. Before we get into that really cool topic, what's Quez Watkins and his role going to be on this team? For Nick Sirianni, what's his role? What do you think his role? Mike, my aunt knows all the rules. My aunt knows all the stories. He did get killed with arrows. Achilles did. Nathan says slot. You guys think he's going to be the slot player? That's going to be his role? You know, he was talking with Josh Talentino from the Inquirer, and he was talking to him about his role, and I'm paraphrasing here, and he says that, you know, I'm going to keep working hard. A.J. Brown's addition is great for the group. Those are all great things to say. But there's no question you're going to get less targets now. So he's got to maximize the opportunities he gets. Is he going to get them with Jalen? See, there's another component to this. Jalen's progression reading. Jalen getting better at that. Jalen finding that. Are they going to have set plays for Quez? Because, look, there's a reason that you pay a guy $100 million, and there's another reason that you draft a guy in the first round and use a first-round pick. You want these guys to be a focal point in your offensive attack in the air. Okay? So, Carl, you think he's going to be more of the guy that is going to be kind of like the pseudo Deshaun Jackson? That's how I would use him. I would use Quez kind of in a 2.0 version of Deshaun Jackson. I would utilize that speed, and I would I don't know about lining him up in the slot. Okay? I don't know so much doing that. I think he's more effective, and I think defenses are going to be more scared if you line him up in a Y or a Z. Because what you don't want to get that guy doing is you don't want Quez Watkins in single coverage, and he's running down the field and he's running by someone. Advantage Eagles. See, Kevin, I think Burner on the outside too is more effective because he's not, follow me guys, he's not going to have the opportunities at numerous targets. So you got to utilize him more situationally. Make sense? Because look, your two focal points are Devontae and AJ now. Well, when you put that guy on the field, why would you drop him in the slot? You're helping the defense. He's more contained where you have more pursuit people coming towards him. If you put him in man coverage or you put him in zone coverage and you let that freak run down the field with that 4.2, 4.3 40, that scares me more as a defender than seeing Quez in the slot. If I see Quez in the slot, he's in traffic. We're going to get him on the ground. He's not the threat inside. He's a threat outside. And he's not going to be getting a boatload of opportunities. Okay? So to me, anytime he steps on the field, you got to maximize what his strength is. And to me, it's his speed. Okay? To me, it's his speed. I would do it this way. I would take Devontae, put him in the slot, put Quez out wide, AJ on the other side. Or I'd put AJ in the slot, Devontae out wide, and on the other side, I would use Quez. Putting Quez inside, you defeat the purpose of speed. Speed, I'm more afraid of teams with great speed than I am with great size. Speed, you can't defend that. You got to run by you. It's over. You can get around size. Okay? Stunts, getting in gaps, penetration defense. You know? Smith is small for the slot. Then put AJ in there. I'm saying this. To me, you've got to use him and his speed. Putting him inside doesn't help you. Zach says, would you use him kind of like Tyreek? Yes. Those 4-yard slant patterns or those little hitch passes, boom, let him go. On single coverage, yeah. Yeah. And by the way, Steven, look at what you do when you put a guy like that on the left side. You have him running down that side. Defense has got to account for him. You've got to account for 4-3 speed. I don't care where it is on the field. You got to account for that. And what you do is, right, dude, you put that guy in single coverage out wide and you just throw it up, I'll take my chances. Today's NFL, you know, it's funny I say that because that's exactly what I've been talking about on the Eagles having to finally take advantage of today's NFL. You can finally take advantage of today's NFL. You've got the players in your offense now to do it. You got speed. You've got tenacity and toughness in AJ. You've got talent in Devontae. You got a tight end who's emerging, and you got a top-flight rushing attack. And you got a quarterback who helps that top-flight rushing attack. So there's a lot to work with here. There's a lot to work with. John, what's good, man? Appreciate you. All good. You know what, John? We're going to do the defense tomorrow. I'd rank the top 32 offenses. I've got the Eagles number 9. It's going to be interesting to see where the Eagle defense falls in line. That'll be tomorrow. We're going to do that tomorrow. But one of the guys came up with a really great topic for right now, and that was, where do you think the coaching staff ranks in the top 32 coaching staffs? Where do you think they rank? I'm looking at the 32 teams. I think the Bears, I don't know what their new coaching staff's going to be. I don't know. It's a horrific offense, and it's a horrific quarterback organization. The Texans, I love Lovey. Is Lovey a better coach than Nick Sirianni? Yeah. Does Lovey have a good coaching staff compared to Nick Sirianni? Yeah. Except for Stoutland. Watch this. Texans probably have a better coaching staff. They're more accomplished with Lovey. Lovey's been to a Super Bowl. Lovey was fired in Chicago with a winning record. I think he went 10-6. They fired him. You think he's better than Pete Carroll, Sirianni? No. I do think this, though, about Pete Carroll. Last couple of years, that's not been a best coaching job up there. Personnel-wise, too. I'll tell you something. Ever since Paul Allen died, hasn't that franchise Seattle gone the other way? By the way, I don't know. Pete, do I look at Pete today more as 2 years ago, Pete Carroll was a slam dunk Hall of Famer. Today, I look at Pete Carroll and I go, yeah, he's a Hall of Famer, but, we could debate it a little bit. The coaching staff in Atlanta, I don't know anything about them. Is he better than Mike Tomlin? Absolutely not. Is he better than the Jets coaching staff? Absolutely. Is he better than Dan Campbell in that coaching? They're going good, dude. They're doing good things in Detroit. But I'll take Sirianni. I'll take Sirianni over the Lions. Is he better than Ron Rivera? No. Is he better than Brian Dable? Yet to be determined. His first year, he took a team to the postseason with a second-round quarterback. I'll take Sirianni right now. We'll see if Brian Dable can go from being a coordinator, did a great job with Josh Allen in Buffalo. We'll see what he does in New York with Daniel Suck Jones. Dude, seriously, if I was going to take that job, that Giant job, I'd be like this. Really? You want me to coach that dude? That guy's not good, man. I'd rather have Ryan Fitzpatrick as my quarterback than Daniel Jones. This is an even better question. You think Nick Sirianni's a better coach than Doug Peterson with the Jags? You think he's better? Danny Nichols. I like that. More like Danny Pennies. Right? You think Sirianni's a better coach than Doug Peterson? That's a big hands down no. Okay. How many Super Bowl winning coaches are out there? There's like 6 or 7. He's not better than Mike Vrabel. That coaching staff is not better than the Titans coaching staff. Big Keezy says that Nick Sirianni's better than Doug Peterson. All right. I'll take Doug. You can go get coached by Nick. And you can, hey, Keezy, let me know how them Kobayashi videos help you out on a blocking scheme and, fighting hard and planting seeds and marijuana seeds and all the rest of the shit he talks about. I'll take Doug. I'm good with Doug. I don't know the coach in Miami. I don't know the coach in Minnesota. So I'm taking Sirianni, by the way, in all these. I'm not convinced with Nick at all. Rome. Tell you what, it's pretty impressive first year, though. Pretty impressive first year. Second year, Matt Nagy won the NFL Coach of the Year award up in Chicago. He got fired 2 years later, This is a good one. Sirianni's not better than Frank Reich, right? You think he's better than Frank Reich? You think Sirianni's a better coach than Frank Reich, excuse me. Dennis Allen, I do think he's a better coach than. Better coach than Cliff Kingsbury. Let me check that there. Because we're going to stop there. We're going to stop there for a second there. Let me see. I'll take Doug Peterson over every coach in the NFL. Still my head coach. Love Dougie P. I thought we had Tony Sarakusa ready to rock and roll. Last word in college football. We're going to have that here in a minute. I'll continue until he joins us. Kyle Shanahan. No, his coaching staff's not better than Kyle Shanahan. No. Okay. Yeah. Better than John Harbaugh? I don't think so. And that coaching staff? I don't think so. Bronco coach? I don't know. Nick over Cliff Kingsbury. Really? Kevin Stefanski, coach of the year? I think, yeah. I wouldn't be upset with either. What's the guy's name in Cincy? Zach Taylor? Let me write this down here. I'm gonna click it here. That's where we stopped. All right, I got to do this, guys. In my years covering college football, I have never seen anything what I saw today. Since maybe Bobby Petrino's fiasco, when he was on that motor scooter and he had that neck collar, I never seen a press conference and then another press conference. Two coaches who absolutely are at two of the biggest programs financially in the country. I'm going to tell you one more time here. Texas A&M, according to Forbes, and Texas, those are the two richest programs in the United States when it comes to boosters. When you go to Franklin Field and you stay at that hotel across the street and you go to Alumni Field there, let me just tell you something. It's $15,000 a night, and they pay it, and that money goes into the Aggies football program. I'm going to say it one more time to you. State of Texas, they were doing this stuff back in the day with SMU. The state of Texas, if I were anybody else, I'd be nervous about that because football is a religion in that state, and they pay for it. Boosters all go back and forth, and they all have these get-togethers. SMU, Texas Tech, Longhorns, Baylor, TCU. Dude, these programs are about to get an influx of money because of their boosters. And it was some fireworks last night with Saban and with Jimbo Fisher this morning. We bring in our friend Tony Sarakusa from The Last Word on College Football. And Tony, I don't know about you, but I don't know if I've ever seen anything like this in my entire life. But let's get your thoughts on it and how you saw the fireworks with Saban last night and Jimbo responding saying that we did not pay for every single guy on our roster, and Nick saying that A&M paid for that entire roster at College Station. Just your thoughts.
It's amazing to have such a boring offseason for college football, right, Dan? Hey, it's great to be back with you. Look, I learned something in journalism school from one of my early college journalism school professors, all right? And it was really simple. When you're done typing, when you're done with your story, take your fingers off the keyboard. Nick Saban violated that premise last night because I watched the whole thing this morning. And Nick was right about a lot of things. The NIL and the collective are going in opposite directions of what the intended consequences of NIL are. We ran an article that I wrote last Sunday, which not so loosely referred to collectives as legalized money laundering. And we stand by that. It's not what the NIL was intended to be. And Nick was right about those things. And Nick was right about the boosters who are going to get upset when they've paid for a player and his existence at Alabama, and then the guy barely sees the field and, you know, he winds up transferring somewhere else and the boosters are going to get upset, right? So he was right about all those things. But then he kept going and he should have stopped. Because, man, he drove that car right into the ditch when he went at Jimbo Fisher. And you're right. We had Nick last night. We had Jimbo today. And we are not done because Deion Sanders is still to be heard from. And you know that's going to be entertaining because Nick went at Jackson State, accusing them of paying $1 million to get Travis Hunter. And with no receipts. And look, as a journalist, as someone who went to journalism school, you know, if you're going to make accusations, you better be ready to back it up. And Nick couldn't do that. And he can't do that. There's all kinds of internet fodder, social media fodder. Oh, they paid for this. They paid for that. That's internet fodder. I'm going to hold a coach to one of the top programs in the country to a higher protocol than I am some rando on, social media site. So it was bothersome to see Nick go as far as he did without being able to back it up. Then Jimbo today, man, Jimbo could have just said, I'm not going to respond to such silliness. And man, he went at it. And to find out that Nick Saban actually called Fisher today and Fisher wouldn't take the call. He said, I'm done with him. We're done. And he wouldn't take Saban's call. SEC Media Days in July is going to be a lot of fun.
I can't believe this. And Tone, this is how I saw it. And you tell me if you could see where, and again, I'm not giving him an off ramp here, Nick Saban, but to me, he was talking to Alabama boosters last night, and what he was telling people, hey, look, the way college football, this is one of the reasons that the Duke coach, Coach Krzyzewski, ended up bailing out, because he doesn't want to have to deal with this. And he's telling boosters
for the same reason, yeah.
At Alabama, he's doing this. Look, the game's changed. If you guys don't get in line with what you're going to start seeing, especially in Texas, and as you and I know, it's religion there. Sure. It's church on Sundays, college football on Saturdays. That's what that state is. And programs like A&M and the Longhorns who are coming into the SEC too, they're going to come in with bags of money for these kids. And I think it was more in general. A&M paid for their recruiting class. But because he's Nick Saban, Tony, you can't be firing shots at another conference coach and another coach like that. And that's where he probably stepped in it.
You know who I imagine is really enjoying this right now? I've got a picture of Lane Kiffin, an imaginary picture of Lane Kiffin sitting back in his smoking jacket with a dry martini, just having a good old laugh about this. But look, you're right. If you're Saban, you can't do this. You have to be above this. And I get it. Look, he's warning the Alabama boosters. You got to come big. If we're going to compete, you got to come big. But here's the problem is Nick misrepresented a lot of things. Not just the payments to the players, but he said, we're here because of all these lawsuits against the NCAA. No, sir. You are here because the NCAA failed in its obligation to see the future 3, 4, 5 years ago and say, this is going to happen. How do we put ourselves in a position to manage it going forward on a national landscape? He was letting the NCAA off the hook when the NCAA is the entire reason why it's so chaotic as it is. The NIL is supposed to be a relationship where, Dan Sileo Cars wants to get the quarterback at, whatever university to do some promotion. And he does the promotion and there are deliverables. There are tangible deliverables and you give him his 10,000 or 15,000 or whatever. And that's the way it's supposed to work. The collectives are boosters and alums and everybody else gathering money from different sources into one big pot of money and then distributing it accordingly without any real insight as to whether $10,000 from this booster went to that player, where the money came from. They now just have a big pot from which they can spend. And that's why at the end of the article, I quoted Joe Pesci from Lethal Weapon 2 and said, it's clean. It's been laundered because they no longer have any concept of where the money came from and where it's going. Just, we have this to spend. And so for Jimbo, look, I get it to the point where Jimbo took it as, you're accusing me of not being able to recruit. You're saying without the money, I wouldn't have gotten any of these guys. And I take offense to that. His quote where he said, and I have it here, so I don't misquote him. I don't cheat and I don't lie. I learned that when I was a kid, if you did, the old man slapped you upside the head. Maybe somebody should have slapped him.
Wow.
Saban.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, man, this is on. And he said, he called Saban a narcissist. He said, some people think they're God, but go dig into his past and how he's done things and you'll learn some new things.
That's a crazy comment there.
It is.
That when he was at LSU,
yep,
when he was there, that they were doing shady. I mean,
yep.
This is a full-out arm wrestling match now in the SEC, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. this October 8th game is going to be circled on everyone's calendar. I'd like him to play it this weekend, frankly. Let's get him on the field
a steel match and have Vince McMahon sit there and promote this thing here. By the way, to your point that you made a couple minutes ago here on the NCAA, they're still freaking battling it. They're still trying to put guardrails up where everyone knows. The United States Supreme Court Justice Roberts came out and said, you're wrong, and they're still thinking that they could change it. So to me, I'll ask you, do you think I think the nil rule does this, Tony. I think it's going to create a whole new division, kind of like the Premier League in soccer, where you're going to have 25 to 40 teams maybe in the country, maybe 35 teams that have the economic resources to get all these top kids. And places like San Diego State or Memphis, man, you're not winning a national title when you got players making $1 million. How do you see this thing eventually landing and where it ends up going?
I think that is a possibility. I think another possibility, I've talked to a handful of coaches who see college football breaking away from the rest of college sports and let the NCAA run, because the selection committee doesn't want to run March Madness or the College Baseball World Series or any of that. Let the NCAA run that stuff. We're going to have a commissioner specifically for college football, and we'll run that. There was an interesting conversation with one of the administrators at Coastal Carolina who had these visions of, the NCAA going to not replacing Mark Emmert with another person, but an executive committee and being able to put in guardrails because everybody would be represented instead of being lectured to from the top. And I'm gonna go quickly because I know you're short on time, but one other solution I have, and it's 2 weeks ago I was joking about it. Now I'm serious. Look at what happened with the Pac-12 yesterday. Okay, where they got rid of the divisions in order to play the championship game, right? Now it's the top 2 teams. And it would have changed 5 out of the last 11 championship games that they had if they'd had that in place before. Next year, presumably, they will just get rid of the divisions altogether, have the 12 teams, and you play your schedule, right? The ACC has been talking about this for months. And Jim Phillips, the commissioner, has been rolling it around publicly and doing interviews. George Kliavkoff never did an interview about this. George Kliavkoff, the commissioner of the Pac-12, never had a press conference. George Kliavkoff just went and said, here's what we need to do. Here's why we need to do it. And he got a unanimous vote from all 12 presidents and chancellors. He got sign off from all 12 athletic directors and sign off from all 12 coaches. If you're going to pick one person to replace Mark Emmert and do it tomorrow, I actually think it should be George Kliavkoff. Because
isn't he from the entertainment field too? Isn't he from like MGM or something?
He ran
like
MGM.
That?
He ran MGM Entertainment for a lot of years. He's got a lot of legal background dealing with gambling in Vegas. He's got entertainment background. The thing that I learned about Kliavkoff and talking to him several times is when you talk about, well, historically we did this, wipe that word historically off your slate. Get it out of your vocabulary. He doesn't care. What he looks at every time is a blank slate, and let's reimagine what it can be and should be to the positive impact of all of our members. I got to tell you, that is what the NCAA needs like yesterday. I don't want to hear about Barry Alvarez or Bob Bowlesby or the insiders who are just going to put Band-Aids in different places. Let's blow it up and reimagine it and see what we can do with it before it completely discombobulates.
I'd love to see Dana White as the commissioner.
Absolutely. Hey,
somebody with entertainment, like you said. Yep. I mean, somebody like McMahon, I know it's extravagant when I'm talking like that, but you need salesmen because like you said, Tony, with the advent of gambling now, with all the college football games, college football is going to benefit so much from gambling.
Absolutely.
And these programs that are divvying out money now, my God almighty, man. I mean, college football is in a really peculiar place right now because they have the ability now to be right there with the NFL, and they need somebody like a Goodell or a commissioner to be able to reel this stuff in. Real quick on some of the coaching changes.
Yeah.
The impact you think Lincoln Riley has on USC will be what?
Immediate and large. I mean, he's already, hit the transfer portal in large numbers. USC was just circling the drain. The boosters were unhappy. They were getting 25,000, 30,000 a game. I think it will be immediate and it will be large.
Mario Cristobal at Miami.
I think that remains to be seen. I was never a Manny Diaz fan. I think Mario will bring a toughness to the program like he did at Oregon. This was the only job he was ever going to leave Oregon for, was to go back home and be where his mom is and his family and so on. I think it will bring a toughness. What that does on the field and his ability to recruit the Florida area, because, man, you got to put a gate around Florida and go get it, right? His ability to do that is still yet to be seen.
I'm telling you the things that I still think that will be roadblocks for him. Because if I'm a kid, like you said, the picket fence goes from Tampa to Orlando, down to Miami, and over to Fort Myers. That's what Howard called the state of Miami.
Right.
And can you keep the Southeastern Conference out of those areas? A couple of years ago on Nick Saban's national championship team, Tony, every defensive back was from the South Florida area. Yeah. I mean, you can't have that any longer. And when I was down there, the big three, we were all in the top 5. Florida State, and Miami. Now you've got UCF, USF, right. You've got the Southeastern Conference. I think Miami being in the ACC actually hurts them, because if I'm a 5-star guy, I'm not playing against Wake Forest.
Right.
I'd rather play against Vanderbilt or Kentucky than play against NC State and Wake Forest. You see where I'm at there? I think the conference still keeps it behind.
No, I agree. It's going to take him years to kind of undo or redo the damage that's been done ahead of him.
Brian Kelly at LSU.
By the
way, I heard this stat. 20% of the players that were on that roster had entered a transfer portal.
I believe it. Yeah, it's a weird. I don't understand it. I don't understand the relationship. Brian Kelly. Look, Brian Kelly had done all he was going to do at Notre Dame. I mean, he had gotten close to, gotten in the playoffs, and he'd gotten all he could get. Now he's going to go get players that he couldn't have gotten in at Notre Dame. But it's a cultural mismatch of epic proportions. He's a laughing stock at this point, trying to do a Bayou, imitation.
How you doing, Tony?
Right? Yeah. I don't get it. I really don't. I don't see him doing well there.
He's from Maine.
Right.
I mean, he's from up like Vermont or something, a place like that. He's going down. I like to tell you all that family down. I was like this. Who in the hell is that?
Right. Yeah. It's not a good match.
Here at Notre Dame. You know what? I'll tell you this. There is one school that could benefit from nil more than any school in the United States.
Absolutely.
But get this. I think they'll never go down there. They barely go through redshirting kids.
Right.
They're an academic institution like Stanford is.
Right.
You think Notre Dame jumps aboard? Because if they jumped aboard to nil, Tony, they'd start winning national titles.
No, I don't think they will. I think they hold themselves. And I've been to games there. And look, I've been to 28, 29 different stadiums over the years. Notre Dame is a special place. And they know it. And they treat it as such. And while I get that people don't like them, and I get why people don't like them, and I get why Miami Hurricane people don't like them, I get all that. I truly do. They look at themselves as something different than the rest of college football. And they have worked so hard to maintain that no, I don't see them abandoning their long-term plans to do it.
Excuse me, but I was throwing up in my mouth. and
I knew that would get you when I called it a special place.
It was like this, going like putting that right in my heart there.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, Tony, man, tell people where they can find your work. And obviously great stuff again. Last word on college football.
I appreciate that. Yeah, you can go to Last Word on Sports and click on the college football tab, and we're there. We are, of course, today covering all of this chaos in the SEC. We've also got a series running the best returning players by position for each conference. We did the Big 12 last week. We're doing the SEC this week and next week. So we've got great writers, 20 writers across the country covering different beats. I have now moved out. Was in Los Angeles. I am now in Charlotte, North Carolina, covering the ACC and the aforementioned Wake Forest. So I've got an exclusive interview with AD John Curry next week. So we'll get his thoughts on a lot of this stuff. And so you can find us on Facebook as well, Twitter at Last Word on CFB, and you can find me at Tony Bruin. I am not changing my handle to Demon Deacon Tony or anything like that.
Yeah. I love it, man. You're really great, and we really appreciate it. Thank you so much for finding time. Nothing like kicking off a great college football season with some drama between Saban and Jimbo. I love it. Actually, I think it's kind of good for the sport that we're talking something like this when it's not college football season.
I gotta say real quick before we go. I know you're in a hurry. That stuff over your shoulder, I love that creamsicle orange Tampa Bay stuff. That's awesome.
Right there, Leroy Solomon gave me that, and see all those
awesome.
game balls. Jimmy Johnson gave me every one of those game balls.
The Tampa Bay stuff, man. I go back to when John McKay was coaching at UFC, so I see that, and I think John McKay and all those guys. That's great stuff, man.
Him and his son picked me up at the airport when I got drafted by the Buccaneers. They go, "Welcome aboard." I go, "You're John McKay?"
Right.
And Rich goes, "Yeah, that's my dad." I'm like, "Holy cow, God, did I want to play at Southern Cal." Tony, thank you, my friend.
All right, man. Take care. Be well.
You got it. That is Tony Sarakusa from The Last Word on College Football. Holy cow, man. Really good fireworks. By the way, I want to hit on the James Bradbury. I want to continue our little sheet that we had here talking about where you think the Eagle coaching staff is. Don't forget, Curt Schilling at 5:30 Eastern will also join us. Morgan & Morgan, my friends. The fee is free. They don't get paid unless you do. And finding that attorney, if you're hurt or injured on the job, is one of the most important things your family can go through. And Morgan & Morgan is the #1 casualty law firm in the country when it comes to getting your fair compensation. Last 30 years, they've collected over $13 billion worth of compensation for their clients. For the people, no, it's not a slogan. It's who they are. It's what they are. I've known John Morgan myself for 25 years, and this is a passion of John. All his attorneys, the army of attorneys that they have, over 800 strong in offices in Philly, New York, Florida, all across this great country, go to battle for you. There is no case that is too small. There's no such thing as a fender bender at Morgan & Morgan. That's right. This is what they are. The call is free, 800-512-1600. That's 800-512-1600. The consultation is free, 800-512-1600. When you call Morgan & Morgan, tell them Dan Sileo sent you.
After a car crash, the big insurance companies you see advertising on TV, they may try to downplay your case and might say it's only a fender bender or it's just a herniated disc. I worry that some law firms fall for this BS. Not us. We put ourselves in your shoes and ask, what would it be like to be in your pain for the rest of our lives? $1 million wouldn't be enough for me. There's only one Morgan & Morgan. ForThePeople.com.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
At Action News, we cherish every moment, and it's our profound responsibility to bring you closer to your world. Never miss a moment. Trust the people at Action News.
In Philadelphia, we celebrated the miracle with pride only 5 years ago. And then the following morning, IBEW Local 98 members went back to work, building this city, rescuing our communities from decay, and inspiring the young men and women of the region to take pride in who we are. Like the Cats, Local 98 members believe in hope.
To learn more about who we are, what we do, and career opportunities with Local 98, visit us, IBEW98.org.
All right, did you know I was the Mommy Slam Dunk Champion?
Really?
Yes, really, don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, I go to left, fake 'em out. Mama, go up, up, up.
She did it.
Again? You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass, free.
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that.
Go for the midnight dares. Go for the game. Go for the hits. Go for the fans. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Welcome back. Hit the like button here. Don't forget, Curt Schilling, 5:30 Eastern. Flex says you wouldn't last a week in the hood in Philly. Flex, I think you're under some pretense here that Big Sills didn't hang out with bona fide gangsters at the U, baby. Have you ever heard of Overtown in Liberty City? Have you? Okay, when I first went into those cities, I was told by Jerome Brown to make sure I put my Miami Hurricane jersey on. Still's a big dude, but he's not lasting in the hood. He'd be bullied every day, going home crying to mommy after school. Flex! Come on, Flex. How would I do in South Philly? That's where all the Paisans are. That's Florida. Oh, okay. Scaredy cat. What? Holy cow, man. Come on, Zach. Can you believe Flex over here says you wouldn't last at all in the hood in Philly? Well, what if I told you, Flex, that Jerome and Reggie White and Seth Joyner brought me to the hood in Philly when I played with the Buccaneers? What if I told you I did a camp? Can you guys tell me one more time? It's called the Plateau. God, we had barbecue. We had like picnics. Am I right? Am I saying it right? The Plateau? We did like these football camps. Reggie White, myself, Jerome, Seth, Clyde. I think Keith Byers was there. Am I saying it right? Sileo had a 24-hour hood pass. How dare you, Big Chris? Liberty City or Overtown isn't Phil. Matthew. Huh? Oh, man. GT, I can only imagine what 8th and Butler is. I don't even, but by the way, and don't tell me. Don't tell me. I don't want to know. Okay? Our star lineup. Hey, man, Andre Waters is a great dude, man. Yeah. Probably would last in South Philly, SP down seconds, but in the hood, West Philly. Well, why don't you do me a favor, Flex? Flex. Tell you what, next time I'm in Philly and we do a remote, we could do it from South Philly and the hood if you want. I'm open to that. Then we have it on Sunday at the link. I'm open for that. Would that be okay? You must be under some pretense about. I think you don't know me very well. See this nice guy riding? I think I don't know. Zach, I don't. I think you don't get what Big Sills ain't scared of anybody, homie. Never have been, never will be. I ain't met a dude yet. It's not gonna. Sills could easily handle Philly. Birdman. Flex, man. Ye of little faith. Ye of little faith. I think if you got a good look at me, Flex, when we're standing next to one another, I think you get a whole different opinion of Big Sills. There's a reason I wear the heavyweight championship belt. Yeah. I'm a nice guy now. I'm a lover, though, dude. Okay? Sills would have Bruno with him. Don't go there. Don't go in there. Wait, don't go down there. Oh, man. Marcus, I'm all game for it. I don't care where they want me to go. I'll roll right in there, man. You pick the restaurant. I'm there. Okay? Make sure it's some soul food for me. I'm ready to rock. Hey, Flex is talking. Oh, man. Thanks for hey, Flex. Thanks for checking us out during work. Please hit the like button, man. Yeah, man. Little softy. William, hang on now. I'm a different guy now. I don't beat people up anymore like I used to. I'm retired now. I don't do those things. And Flex, I don't throw people out of windows anymore. That, kind of in my hit. Flex, by the way, I got thrown out of Maryland because I threw a dude out of a first-story window. But I'm a nice guy now. That's a true story. That's a true story. I'm in retirement now, Zach. I'm in retirement. Yeah. Oh, no. I'm a nice guy now. Yeah, Flex. I got thrown out of Maryland because I threw a guy out of a no, I threw him into it sounds worse than it is, but I threw him into a snowdrift. But I did throw him out a window. Hey, no. Hey, Steven. I think some of you know. So we had a party on the first floor at this place called Ellicott at Maryland. God, my aunt, I pray to God she's not listening now. Her and my grandmother went into Bobby Ross's office and begged me to stay. This guy had a really good-looking girlfriend, Flex. And I'm sitting there and I'm talking to her, and he comes up to me with his 5 buddies. Hey, it's my girl. I go, not tonight, she ain't. And this is when I was a not very nice guy. Flex, this is when I was not a very nice guy. Okay, if you got on my bad side, it wasn't good. Usually, I never started shit. The guy put his hands on me, so he went out the window, and we proceeded to beat the hell out of the other 4 guys. I've seen this movie happen. Oh, okay. Well, you think you're going to brush up on me and say, I need $10? Flex, it's all good, man. Hey, it's all good. You got it, man. You guys are all good. I love it, man. We're going to reset at the top of the hour, by the way, too. Hey, Sills, don't start shit. Hey, no, listen, I'm not, man. You know what? Don't bring me back to them days, man. Don't bring me back to those days, man. I'm retired now. Sills Confessions. Thank you, Birdman. Yeah. No, not like Ray Lewis. Come on, GT. All right. By the way, this James Bradbury deal, $7.5 million in base, or 7.25 in guarantees, and another 2.5 in potential earnings. And that's what came out to the $10 million here. It's a great deal for the Eagles. It's a great deal. It's a total prove-it deal. So you got a guy who was in line to make $13.5 million. Okay? $13.5 million. You got him at $7.5 million. Pasca says, Sills, what's your ceiling for the Eagles season? NFC Championship game or bust for Jalen? Pasca, I'm thinking that. GT, it is a steal. Okay? Zach goes, I'm going to start calling you Mr. Steal Your Girl. Dude, that was, hey, see, man, I shouldn't say everything, man. See that? I shouldn't say everything. Seals played when Miami was in. No, I didn't. We played, Steve and I played at Miami when we were independent. Okay? Hey, Steven, I told the story before, man. We went into Morgantown, and hey, I've never seen couches burn. Steven, I've never seen couches burn and dudes wearing nooses around their neck. I've never seen that. We got on the bus. You couldn't hear a pin drop. Me and all the brothers, me being Italian, it's all good. I kind of fit in anyway. I'm sitting in there. I started laughing a little bit. I went like this. Does that guy got a noose around his neck? This guy had a noose around his neck. And they had crosses and couches burning. And I'm sitting there going like this. Man, it was a scary sight. These were Klansmen. These guys were Klansmen. They had hoods on. We had beat the shit out of them, too, on national television, embarrassed them. And I'm sitting on this bus, man, in the middle of this. And I looked over. Hey, Flex, you'll love this. I look over at Jerome and I go, I think you guys are on your own today. Everybody on the bus started laughing. I go, I think you're on your own tonight, man. Dude, they started rocking our buses. Steven, it was the scariest thing I've ever seen. I'm a 21-year-old kid, and these Klansmen were rocking our buses, like wearing hoods, nooses around the neck, burning couches and crosses. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I only read about this kind of shit. I only read about this stuff. And I'm sitting there going like, this is ridiculous. I go, my God, I think we beat them like 58-3 or some shit. And we crushed them. Zach, I had never seen a cross burn and a dude in a Klan's outfit. We get on we beat them and we leave that stadium and we get on our bus and we start feeling the buses rocking. And I was like, what's going on? Why are we rocking? And all of a sudden I see these guys with these wide hoods on. I'm like, I didn't know what it was. I was like, what is this? And Jimmy sits back and he goes, like, because he's from Arkansas. And Jimmy goes, yeah. And I went, what do you mean? What is that? He goes, it's the Klan. Excuse me? I went like this. Carl, it's a true story. Ask Alonzo Highsmith. Anybody who was on that bus with us, Stubbs, Vinny Testaverde. It was crazy. Steven, it was fun, man. These guys just wanted to scare us because we'd really put it to their ass, man. Oh, man, it was crazy, man. All right, hey, I'm going to take a timeout. Please hit the like button. We're going to reset also Curt Schilling at 5:30 Eastern. Keep it right here on the National Football Show.
After a car crash, the big insurance companies you see advertising on TV, they may try to downplay your case and might say it's only a fender bender or it's just a herniated disc. I worry that some law firms fall for this BS. Not us. We put ourselves in your shoes and ask, what would it be like to be in your pain for the rest of our lives? $1 million wouldn't be enough for me. There's only one Morgan & Morgan. ForThePeople.com.
field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on three. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Do you stream on a Roku, Fire Stick, Android TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
The big story on Action News.
Search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
In Philadelphia, we celebrated the miracle with pride only 5 years ago. And then the following morning, IBEW Local 98 members went back to work, building this city, rescuing our communities from decay, and inspiring the young men and women of the region to take pride in who we are. Like the Cats, Local 98 members believe in hope.
To learn more about who we are, what we do, and career opportunities with Local 98, visit us, IBEW98.org.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass. Free.
What's that?
A rocks glass?
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that. Holy shit.
And you're telling me I can get one of these glasses for free?
That's right. One free rocks glass per customer with each first-time purchase of Stateside Vodka. So good, it just disappears.
Welcome back. Hour 3 National Football Show. It's your boy Big Sills. By the way, Steven, you shouldn't be ashamed. 20 dudes is not an indictment on a community. Just because 20 jackasses were doing that doesn't mean people in Morgantown are bad people. People are very passionate about their sports. People go overboard all the time. People say dumb stuff all the time. Hey, I'm a prime example of that. People do dumb stuff. It's not an indictment. One guy throws batteries at Santa Claus or throws snowballs at Michael Irvin or what have you. That's not an indictment on Eagle fans, even though the media and people like to do that kind of shit. They like to put people in boxes and in rooms and in lanes. It's not an indictment. Every Bill's not a bad guy. Every Bob's not a bad guy. Okay? I mean, it's not an indictment on communities. Okay? Right. You mean 20 people do bad things. Like, how many times have you gone to the link or you've gone to Wells Fargo and the whole area is really cool. Everybody's having a great time, drinking beers, eating hot dogs, hamburgers. Kids are enjoying themselves. And you got 4 drunks there. Wreck it out for everybody else. That happens every game. You got 4 turds in the room that screw it up for everybody else. Okay? I mean, like when Carson Wentz rolls into Lincoln Financial, that guy's going to get the jeers that he so deserves by the fans because he failed here. And he's going to get crushed. But 95% of the fan base are football fans. 5% are turds. They'll take it over the line like most people know when you're in a stadium setting. There's always those 5 people out of 20 who shit on it for everyone else, and then you get thrown in that room. You're like, I didn't do any of that. You were sitting next to him. I'm like, I didn't even see him do it. But, hey, Randy Moss loves where he's from. Dude, he's from West Virginia. He loves he's from Rand, West Virginia. Absolutely, dude. It's all good. 20 dudes did not shape us from never playing. I'll tell you what, it bugged Jimmy a little bit. I'm playing West Virginia again. And I think it was a couple years after that we played. Then we went back to playing them, but back then we were independent. So you had to play all the independent teams. Okay? I told you guys the story before. I think you guys, I've told you the story before. I break up a Klan rally with Jerome Brown in Brooksville, Florida. Everybody in Brooksville, Florida is spectacular. When we buried Jerome there, where his hometown and all the Eagle guys and all the Hurricane guys and all the people from the community that were there, phenomenal people. Even the Klans guys showed up to his funeral. The people that we broke up that's funny. I think about that now. When we broke that Klan rally up, it's in Sports Illustrated. You can Google it. I even think there's pictures of Jerome breaking his Klan rally. I was there. I was so upset because I had just been drafted by the Bucks. My owner is a known racist, Hugh Culverhouse. And there I am in Brooksville with Jerome going, dude, you got me at a Klan rally? He goes, don't worry, I'm going to take care of this. I'm like, Jesus criminy, man, what happens if like shots are He goes, shut up. And so I'm going like this. All right. Sure enough, man, when Jerome passed away, some of the people that came gave their respects to Jerome because Jerome was a community activist and he wanted everybody to have a lot of love with everyone. Jerome was a great man. Okay. He hated hate. He made me a better dude. I really did. He's tremendous, man. He's a tremendous human being. Kevin goes, was Forrest Gump there? No, but I'll tell you, Kevin. Reggie White was, Seth Joyner was, Chris Carter was, Buddy Ryan was, Jimmy Johnson was, Vinny Testaverde, Alonzo Highsmith, Cortez Kennedy, Russell Maryland, Norman Brayman. Those guys were there, though. Those guys were all there, and everyone was crying. Okay? It's just great. Just wonderful. All right. So we started the program out by saying that Brandon Graham came out with a comment about Jonathan Gannon. We're going to open it up. Who benefits the most, do you think, from Jonathan Gannon opening up the defense? Who do you think benefits the most? Brandon Graham says just the things that we're doing right now is showing me that we're going to do a lot more scheming than we did a year ago. There's more personnel on that side of the football. Who benefits the most from Jonathan Gannon playing a different style of defense? I think it's going to be those two corners. What's the strength of the defense right now? That's right, William. Thinking alongside of me here. Okay? Is it the front four? Or is it now your corners? What's the strength of the Eagle defense? What do we see as the strength? To me, it's the cornerback play. And see, Smile, I'm not so sure about the DT because I want to see Jordan Davis in shape, and he's not right now. That's a troubling thing. By the way, don't forget, Curt Schilling, bottom of the hour. Gannon has to press our corners. I completely agree with that. Completely agree. No more of that soft zone underneath. The front is why he signed. Jeremiah thinks it's trenches. Boy, Daz, I got to tell you, man, if you screw this up with the kind of talent that they have, he's just got to figure out how to put the pieces on the board here. Okay? D-Train, funny enough, racist people tend to be the people that apply what the few do to the many. That's why I never pass judgment on anyone. I make my own assessment. Nobody tells me how to think. I got my own way of thinking. I'm not a follower. Eastside Monster, Big Sills. I read that Bradbury leaves the Eagles in free agency. After this year, we get a compensation pick. Correct. That's how that works. Most likely a third rounder. Look at, hey, East Side Monster. The Eagles can't lose on that. You would probably get, hey, depending on how he plays too, it could be as high as a second rounder. Could be as high as a second. So if he leaves, you get a 2 or 3. How great is that? I want to see Dean on the field. Seals, you do know that Schilling hated Philly. We'll ask him. We'll ask him. I want to know why. And by the way, he's on my show because he's compelling. Philip says 326. Look coming our way. I think Dean or Hurts going to be the team MVP this year. Boy, Flex, I want that kid Reddick to be. That means the corners did their job and the pass rush improved. Davis is not going to be involved, I don't think, in the pass rushing. Christian McCaffrey, Steven, just too injured for me. The Giants' dead cap hit is more than we paid for him. That's crazy great. That whole Bradbury move is insane great for the Eagles in the division. Doesn't even probably have to move. Knows all the players, the money, the compensation pick. If he decides to leave, say he leaves and Howie doesn't want to pay and he wants to go into the draft and get another corner. You know, next year's draft is going to be heavy in quarterbacks and cornerbacks. How's that for you? Right? The whole thing is spectacular. It just lined up perfect, man. By the way, it's almost, I love this. Here, let me ask you this. What do you think was the best move in the offseason for Howie? A.J. Brown? Hassan Reddick? James Bradbury? Jordan Davis? Nakobe Dean? What was the best move for Howie? The A.J. Brown deal. Convincing him to come and play in Philly? Convincing him to come and play in Philly. And to come, you know what? Jalen had to help. NFCB said trading 18 and 101 for A.J. Brown. Brown by far. Fudo 13 says. Howie extension. About the restructuring of Cox's deal from 18-4 to 14-4. How about getting Hassan Reddick basically for a little bit more than $10 million a year on a 3-year deal? Perennial, right? Xander says, we stole A.J. Brown. You'd rather have A.J. or Treylon Burks, who can't even get through minicamp. You see that guy struggling to get through helmets and shorts? Dude, he's a receiver. I get Jordan Davis at 345 pounds moving around. That's a large human being. And to keep that kind of body in shape takes a lot of discipline. He's been traveling around. I'm not making excuses. He should be in great shape. However, a wide receiver who can't go through passing drills in Tennessee. We're not talking about Florida here with the humidity here. We're not talking about that. That's a problem. Treylon Burks is out of shape. He's a freaking wideout. Dude, that is Hey, Chris, I saw Kelsey's gut, man. I think he's half in the bag in retirement right now. Looked like a lot of White Castles there, man. Homie looked like he'd been working buffet over, huh? Hey, I saw that, man. I was checking out the Eagle Twitter. And, hey, all you guys over there at the complex, I'm sure you'll tell Kelsey, but, dude, I saw him walking out, man. Tell him to lay off the buffet tray. Dude, he's hitting it. Hey, man, I don't know. I mean, try some carbs or something, dog. Man, that thing, man, he was like bloated. Hey, you know what? Maybe he was a little bloated. I don't know. Maybe he had some Chinese food or something, man. You know, it kind of bloats you up. I had some Chinese food last night, too. You know, kind of blew me up a little bit. You know? Or maybe he had some of Sirianni's Kobayashi hot dogs. You know, some of that stuff. I don't know. Boy, Kelsey come walking out, man. That gut was working it, man. Woo! Wow. I mean, a big old fat barrel belly. He's like 6'2", too, man. I'm like, came rolling out, man. I'm like, who is that? And they go, that's Jason Kelsey. I'm like, man, thank God he's a legend. Because, man, wow. As Xander goes, he's approaching Big Sills level. Well, yeah, man, I'm in my late 50s. This dude's like 30-something now. I didn't look like that, man. Holy cow, man. Looks like he's in his 6th trimester. Homie's working it, man. This guy's got to robicize a little. That's a lot of beers, man. He's probably sitting back doing this, Kelsey. Yeah. Should I come back or not? Give me another one of them White Castles. Give me 2 more of them Coronis. Yeah, should I play or not? I'm going to Canton anyway. Hey, shit, let me tell you this. If I was Jason Kelsey and I knew I was going to Canton, my last year I may do that too. Okay? Dude, he come barreling out, man. I'm like, who is that? Is that the new kid? First, I thought it was the new kid, Juergens. And then who told? Oh, yeah, Tracy Rocker goes, no, that's Kelsey. I'm like, he started. I was like, hey, man, wow. Dude might want to lay off them pancakes. And Jemima. Man. Man. Yeah, I don't know about cannolis, homie. I don't know, man. I don't think cannolis make you look like that. I think the White Castles and maybe some Hojos. You know, you have Howard Johnson's. Do we still have Howard Johnson's? You know, Howard Johnson's at night, you go in there and you get like some crepes and you get pancakes. You order everything on the menu and you're hammered. Me and my boys used to do that. Yeah, I was like, God. Dude, you see AJ Brown? No, he come rolling out. I'm like, is that AJ Brown? Dude, he's a big dude. He's a big dude. I was impressed. I was really impressed, man. 215, I don't know, man. I stay in the Dan cave. I don't even know if Howard Johnson's are around. I just know I used to go at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I used to do Hojo bolts with my boys. He is Daz. He's jacked, man. He's a big dude, man. Yeah, he did, Chris. He looked like a linebacker, man. That's a big man. And that guy's going to be involved. Hey, no wonder the Titans loved him. The Titans had to love him in the run game. That guy, can you imagine that dude rolling across the middle at 6'3", 6'4", whatever the hell he is? He looked all at 235 pounds. Yeah, DK Metcalf and him are big dudes, man. That guy comes rolling across the middle. He's going to be a factor in the run game. Charles, that's great to know. I love Hojos, man. Waffle House down in South Florida, Hojos up north. That was the story of my life, man. Dan, I really love what you do with this show. Much love. Anthony, man, look at that. Anthony, to me, as far as I'm concerned, you're a paisan. With the name Anthony, you're a paisan as far as I'm concerned. How you doing? We're boys. Buona fortuna. Right? Yeah, man. Milton Williams is benching 500 pounds. Really? Well, I'm going to keep an eye on him now. Milton Williams is putting up 5 bones. He's going to play. You know, I was impressed with him last year. I think he's going to get some playing time here, man. I really do. Dude, I tell you, he may be the sneaky dude in this whole thing here. Okay? Let me tell you, I like him. Okay? Xander goes like this. He's taking the NFL seriously. He's working his ass off. Dude, that's great to hear. Because you know what a guy like Jordan Davis will do to a guy like Milton Williams? You know what he'll do? He'll take being looked over because somebody drafted him at his position, and he'll put a lumberyard on his shoulder. Why do you think Brady posts posters all the time and pictures of all those quarterbacks that were drafted ahead of him? You know why? Because athletes that are defined by greatness and guys who are superstar players, man, they don't have chips on their shoulder. They put lumberyards on their shoulder. That's why guys like that succeed. And that's why guys like this, in my opinion, you talk about the top 20 big game pictures over the last 25 years. How do not you mention the name Curt Schilling? Curt Schilling, NLCS MVP, World Series MVP in the desert with the Snakes. And you got pencil pushers are defining his resume by sitting back and making their vote kind of matter. And it's all because of Curt's politics. This guy right here, you talk about big game pitchers. Here he is. It's Curt Schilling. Curt, thank you so much
What's
for
up,
taking
Dan?
time. Hey, wait a minute. I don't hear any chickens.
Hold on. I am absolutely digging the throwback Leroy Selman, Tampa Bay. That is so badass.
I love it, man. Dude, thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Hey, Curt, I had a guy say this and ask this question to go out to you here. Your time in Philly. Take us to that time in Philly. What was it for you? Your time in Philly was what?
Almost a dream come true. We didn't win. And ultimately, my greatest memories in the game were, dogpiling on the field after a win. But it's really hard to put into words because it was so many different things. I got married. All my kids were born there. Bought my first home there. My career began for the most part there. We had 1993. When you have a team that loses the World Series and the town still has a parade for you, I mean, you're something special. And I had a bond with those fans that to this day I cherish because I enjoyed playing for hard-ass fans because I knew I was going to leave it all out there, and I knew that they would make everybody else I played with leave it all out there or quit. And that was fun. I love those expectations. Really, obviously, very disappointed that the team never made a committed effort after 93 to put together a winner. Didn't make trades they could have made. Didn't get players they could have gotten. But so many great things came out of there. Terry Francona and I met. And gosh, Mike spent most of my career after that with him. So many great memories, so many great friends. Just lost another one in David West this last week. But Philadelphia had the ability in the vet, especially where 11,000 people could sound like 60,000 when they wanted to. And people that weren't from Philly hated that. And I know visiting players hated it, but I loved it.
Curt, I'm now our company is based in Philadelphia, and I'm getting a great understanding of who these people are. If you show up, you go to work, they're going to love you. You think they're some of the most misunderstood fans there are?
Well, no, they're not misunderstood. People hate them because they're Philly fans. They're not misunderstood. They're passionate. They're vulgar. They're mean. They're pissy. They're all the things as a home player you dream of having behind you. And here's the thing. Unfortunately, for a lot of players, if you're not good, they don't like you. And I don't have a problem with that. I mean, when you think about where it's gone, where professional sports has gone, and the amount of money a hardworking family has to spend to go to one game, yell all you want, man. I mean, it was a very special place to play. Boston was very much the same way. People ask me, which fans were better. Both fan bases, Boston and Philadelphia, were heaven for home players and hell for visitors. And I cherish being able to take the mound and stand and take the ball and stand on the mound in front of both those sets of fans. And then Arizona was special because I grew up there.
Let me take you to another chapter, the Boston chapter. Does the Boston chapter define your winning and being in that environment to finally deliver something that fan base had never seen before? I mean, you got to think about it, Curt. The Cubs, the Red Sox. I mean, even when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, you know what a great thing that was down Broad Street. I mean, but to do that for that community, what did that mean?
On a personal level, for me, I hope I can say this. I think it backed up the fact that I didn't talk shit. If I said it, I was gonna get it done. And I remember a very vivid moment when Theo Epstein and Jed Hoyer were at my house trying to recruit me to come to Boston, and my wife Shonda had strategically placed my 2001 World Series trophy between their chairs. And, they were kind of haggling a little bit about money, and Larry Lucchino was haggling about money. I said, listen, guys, come on, this is stupid. I said, you want me to go there and help you win one of those because you can't do it on your own. You can't beat the Yankees, and I can. I said, so let's stop haggling and bullshitting about the money. Let's just say that if we win the World Series in the first 3 years of this deal, I get a $2 million bonus, and you give me another year on my contract. And because ultimately that's why I was going there. And so I didn't have a problem with that. That never bothered me. I remember I went out before the Yankee playoff series and said, I can't think of anything more enjoyable than making 55,000 people from New York shut their mouths. And I went out in game one and got my ass handed to me, and they didn't shut up, boy. They were loud, and I heard things about my mother that I've never heard before. But it was deserved. I loved it. I relished being in that. And I always did things, and you can remember back in my days in Philly, I would say and do some things from a pressure perspective that would, in a lot of people's minds, were like, why do you want to put that much more pressure? I said, you know what? No one's ever going to come close to putting the pressure on me that I put on myself. So your expectations are going to fall far short of anything I ever expect from myself. So, ultimately it came down to that, right? The decision was, and I knew that I had the Yankees in the wings. In 2003, my wife wanted to go to New York, and I knew that as soon as the window closed on the Red Sox 72 hours, that the Yankees were going to be in my house. And I was talking to Sean. We were talking it through, and I said, well, so here's the deal. We can wait till tomorrow. New York will show up, and they'll let me fill in the check, and we can go win 28, 27, 28, and 29 in New York, or we can go to Boston and do something that no one's ever seen before. I said, I like the thought of doing something no one's ever seen before. I mean, it's a win-win in my mind either way. But I got there, and I realized that there were guys. I mean, Kevin Millar talked about the fact that in 2003, he didn't want the ball hit to him late in the game because he didn't want to be Bill Buckner.
Wow.
And I was like, that shit stops now. Right. I mean, so the saying that I came up with was, and I made T-shirts out of it, and I still actually have mine, is why not us? Why can't it be us? Why can't we be the team? And we were so talented and so deep. Our World Series was the Yankee series. And I can remember vividly, we're down 3-0, and they just beaten us like 115-2. And A-Rod had like 9 homers that game and drove in. It was ridiculous. And we just got embarrassed. And we were talking. And I said, listen, guys, this is how it needs to be, or it should be. We don't have to win 4 games or 3 or 2 or what. We need to win the top of the first tomorrow. I said, if you look around the room and at the talent in this team, in this room, if we play a half inning at a time, if you go out and pitch the bottom of the first and win that inning, win that half inning, and win the time, we won't lose. We can't.
Curt, did you guys get in the circle prior to that game 4? Did you guys all say, let's win the first inning? Did you guys just say
that? We literally played that way for the next 8 games. We won 8 in a row.
Let's win every inning.
Just win the half inning. Win the half inning. Win the at bat. You make it out, make it a 9-pitch at bat. And if you go back and watch that series, that's exactly what happened. I mean, don't forget, we were down in the 9th again.
Oh, yeah.
Game 5.
Yeah.
And, they had one thing over everybody else but us. Mariano Rivera didn't intimidate us. And God bless him, greatest closer that ever lived. I think he's a phenomenal human being. But I played in 2 clubs, Boston and Arizona, where Mariano Rivera wasn't, oh, my God, it's Mo. And that became what it was. And then as soon as we won Game 5, everything changed. I mean, I didn't know I was going to pitch Game 6 until Game 5. But I can remember Wakefield, Derek Lowe, and I, on the night of Game 5, when it went extra innings, we were walking. We just said, screw it. We put our spikes on. We're available. We're ready. And we walked to the bullpen, and the place just went nuts in Fenway as we were walking across the field. And I'm in my head, I'm thinking, my God, if they lose this game, it's all on them. And then, Game 6 comes around, and weird shit happens, and we end up beating them again pretty handily. And
did you ever think, Curt, you weren't gonna finish it out?
Oh yeah. I didn't.
Even when you were injured, did you ever go like this? I don't know if I'm gonna go.
Dan, I didn't think after Game 1 I was going to be able to pitch again because I couldn't. I mean,
you couldn't stand.
Well, I went out there and we tried to shoot. You remember all the stuff? Tried different shoes and wraps and all this other stuff, and my tendon was dislocating every time I threw the ball, and I could feel it and I could actually hear it. Well, I mean, that was just an embarrassment what I did in Game 1, and that was probably the lowest point of my career.
Oh wow!
Because that was the game I was brought there to pitch.
Yeah.
That specific game was the game I was brought there to pitch, and I failed. And I was devastated. And then 2 days later, Dr. Morgan walks in and he goes, hey, man, listen. And I'm out. I'm not pitching Game 6 at the point. He said, I went to a morgue last night, or I don't know what it was. He said, and I was messing around with this cadaver, and I think I found out something we can do. And I was like, let's go. And 10 minutes later, I'm laying on the trainer's table with my ankle up, and he's stitching my skin down to the bone on my ankle. And guys are walking in like gagging, getting sick.
It's fucking awesome.
Dude, I stood up and I was like, I'm walking around like, dude, I can do this. I went out and I started playing catch, and I was like, yeah, we're good, man. We're good. So they actually took the stitches back out, and then we redid it the day of the game. And I can remember being in the moment I knew in Game 1 I was in trouble was when I went to hit the top step of the dugout to walk the bullpen, and my tendon dislocated. I felt it, and I was like, oh, this is not going to be good. Game 6, when I hit the top step, everything stayed in place, and I was like, all right. And I got loose, and it stayed there, and I had a little zip on the ball, and I could command a little bit. And I remember the thing I remember, and I'm a Christian. I've been a Christian, born again since 1997. The thing I can remember most vividly is I had a moment before the game with our pastor. We had chapel before the games, and I missed it because I was doing my pregame stuff, and I had asked him to stay behind. And I'm talking probably 6:30 for an 8 o'clock game. I went up to see Walt Day was his name. And I sat down, and I've told this story a very few times, but I just started crying. I was just, and Walt just sat there, didn't say anything. And I mean, I'm talking bawling. And this is an hour and a half before first pitch. And he's like, what's on your mind? I said, I don't deserve this. I don't deserve to go to him and ask him for a favor. I mean, it's always been a relationship of convenience for me. And so there's an enormous amount of guilt. And he looks at me and goes, that's not up to you, man. That's not up to you. And like I could, and you know, you hear people say that weight off your shoulders. I'm saying this on my children's name. If you watch the video of that game that night, you'll see me 15 different times on the field, laughing, smiling. Nobody on the planet was more at ease than I was on that baseball field.
That's crazy. That's one of the biggest moments.
And I get chills just saying it.
Oh, it's in baseball history.
Well, but I experienced faith at its very essence. I'm standing in the middle of Yankee Stadium. There's 55,000 people from New York, and they all shut up because I stuck it up their butts for 7 innings. The umpires made the right calls, and 86 years of BS is gone. And now we're at 3-3 going to Game 7, and we knew. I'll tell you a funny story. Game 7 comes out, and starting with Game 4, we had watched Miracle before each game.
1980 U.S. men's hockey.
Yep. Game 7, we're in the Yankee clubhouse watching it, and Theo comes in with his phone, and it's Jim Craig.
Oh, my God. It's great.
And he had called us, and he's like, boys, it's all on you. You win or lose, it's on you tonight. Just love it. Have fun. I mean, it was just like one of those surreal moments.
That's right. He's a Boston College guy.
Yep. And so he calls us. We go out there, and, you know, we absolutely wiped the floor with them. And we knew, I mean, that was it. We knew. After that series, no disrespect to the Cardinals because that was a great team. We knew they could. We weren't worried about the Cardinals winning the World Series. We did not think the Cardinals could beat us a single game.
You guys dominated. It was complete domination. Curt, what was the desert to you and what you and Randy did out there? What was that just the cherry on top of everything when you guys went there? I mean, because like you said, Mariano Rivera, the Yankees, Gonzalez gets the game winner. You're the MVP with
in spring training that year, Jerry Colangelo predicted that Luis Gonzalez would hit a grand slam in the bottom of the 9th of Game 7 against the Yankees to win the World Series.
That's insane.
And Gonzo comes up with the bases loaded in the bottom of the 9th. But anyway, that first of all, that was in my career, that was probably the longest stretch of focus I ever had. That 01 and 02. It was I don't want to. The sport is hard. I'm not disrespecting anybody, but I don't think anybody in the history of the game ever did what RJ and I did for a 2-year period from a domination. We won 90 games. And we struck out 1,200 hitters.
That's insane.
We threw close to 1,000 innings.
Had to be one of the best 1-2 combos in baseball history.
Again, statistically, for 2 years, I think we did. No one could ever touch us.
You know what? I would only go maybe Curt, like J.R. Richard and Nolan Ryan.
But even if you go back, even if you go back, and because I've done it, like I lived and breathed the game. So if anytime I say something like that, I don't do it flippantly.
Oh, got it.
You know, I looked at Koufax and Drysdale, and I looked at Richard and Ryan, and I think at the time I felt like, from a statistical perspective, we did things no one had ever done before. We finished 1-2 in the Cy Young. Randy won it both years unanimously, which he should have. I won the Players' Choice Award both years because that's voted on September 1st. And RJ went out and won like 20 games in freaking September and struck out like 500 guys both years to win it. But and then you had 9/11, and then you had. I grew up in Phoenix, so that was very special to me. And think about this, right? I mean, you're a kid, you dream of doing all these other things. I'm 24 years old, 1991. I'm in the weight room in the Astrodome, and Roger Clemens comes over to me for 45 minutes. He wears my ass out. Goes up one side, down the other. You're cheating the game. You're cheating yourself. And he said something that to this day has resonated with me. He said, when you walk out on that field, the name on the back of your jersey, that's not yours. That's your dad's. And I never forgot that. Now here I am, 2001, Game 7 of the World Series, Schilling versus Clemens. 9/11, one of the greatest World Series that had ever been played. We just had 3 games in New York that went perfect. if you were a fan of the game and you hated the Yankees, the World Series went exactly how you would want it to go. They won all 3 in New York. The city was on, lit up after 9/11. We came back. Andy Pettitte was tipping all of his pitches in Game 6. We beat them 16 to something. And I can remember I did a pregame Game 7 with Kevin Kennedy. And I said, I guarantee you, if we win tonight, we will be World Series champions. And he's like, what? No. He's all freaking out. And they went over and they asked Jeter, and Jeter's like, what do you think what is he supposed to say? And Mike Stanton was like all pissed off and whatnot. But I'll tell you two moments that resound, and I don't know if we're pushed up for time, but two moments that were resounding that will always stick with me was, the first was, I was sitting on the bench before I went to the bullpen, and everything I did on the day I pitched happened the same way. Boy, there was spring training of the World Series. And I'm sitting on the bench with Brian Matuzis, Jeff Matuzis, our bullpen catcher, who's a phenomenal human being. And there's 60,000 people in Bank One Stadium, and there's white pom-poms, and you can feel the stadium kind of vibrating. And I'm sitting there, in my head, I had a conversation. My father popped into my head and said, hey, what are you so anxious for? And I'm responding like, well, it's Game 7 of the World Series. He said, you're going to go out and do tonight what you've been doing your whole life, and tomorrow you're going to wake up and take the kids to school. What's the problem? Have fun. And I look over at Jeff, and he's our bullpen catcher, sweating like he's in the middle of the Sahara. He's sweating bullets. And I looked at him, I'm like, dude, what the hell are you sweating for? He goes, you're not nervous? I'm scared to death. I said, dude, you're the bullpen catcher. You're going to warm me up and sit on your ass for 9 innings. What are you nervous about? And he just kind of laughed, and we walked down to the bullpen. And then the other moment I remember is 8th inning. I remember after 6 innings, the only time in 2 years that I lost my focus, after the 6th inning, I walked off the mound. I'd only faced 18 hitters. And I said, I'm gonna face 27 hitters in Game 7 of the World Series. Like, it was the first time I'd gotten out of my thought train. Next inning, I screwed it up. 8th inning, I had punched out Soriano twice. And I got him into a 2-strike count, and I was going to go split, and I went split, and I threw a beautiful split, and he crushed it. And I knew as soon as he hit it, it was gone. And it was a bomb. And if you watch the pitch was a spectacular pitch. He crushes it, and I don't know why, but for some reason, every time you turn around, you watch a home run go, I turned around to my left for some reason. And as I did it, my peripheral vision caught Mo getting up in the dugout, in the bullpen, taking his jacket off. And in my head, I'm like, I just lost the World Series. I just lost the World Series. And I was just devastated. And then, the 9th inning happens, and Gracie singles. And I'll tell you, if you're a fan of baseball, if you go back and watch that bottom of the 9th, it all happened in less than 5 minutes. It was
electric.
It was beyond belief. But all of that happened. The 2 runs and everything happened inside of under 5 minutes. It was that fast. And I'm sitting on the bench, and Gracie leads off with a single off Mo, pulls his hands in, hits a jam shot up the middle. And I'm sitting behind RJ, and, he's 7 feet tall and 9 feet wide. So I'm like trying to watch the game under him. Gracie gets the hit. Well, I got to go back to my seat. So I'm watching the whole inning, like behind RJ, trying to look through his legs and look around, and it's just bang, bang, bang. And all of a sudden we're on the field celebrating.
Curt, I've got to bring this up. And one of the things that I wanted to ask you, I'm a former professional athlete. You are as well. I can't believe you're being held out of the Hall of Fame because of the shirt you're wearing with all of the things that you've accomplished. One of the top 20 postseason pitchers, 200 wins, low 3 ERA, one of the greatest big game pitchers of all time. I asked Dave Stewart, Stu, I'm getting on Schilling. He goes, dude, you talk about giving the pill to a guy and you need 9 innings won, he's your guy. And I'm going, he goes, it's a shame. And I saw what you said the other day, or a couple months ago or a year ago. You said, take my name out of this. I don't even want to go through this stuff any longer. Just your thought on the process of how people with pencils and pens decide your resume.
Well, let's begin with the fact that it's an incredibly flawed process. All right. And to be clear, let me just state right up front, if I had a Hall of Fame, I wouldn't be in it.
Why?
Well, because we'll play a little game. I play this with any sports person. All right. I'm going to name a name to you, and you tell me Hall of Fame or no. Okay. Mariano Rivera.
Slam dunk.
Tony Gwynn.
Slam dunk.
Mike Mussina. But that's it. If you have to wait and pause, no. And that's me.
He only had 120 game year, final year.
But again, I am. If you have to think about it, no. That's my Hall of Fame.
Yeah, but Curt, you have moments in baseball history.
I totally get that. And for the Hall of Fame as it stands statistically, I fit somewhere in there. But my Hall of Fame I wouldn't be in. But this whole thing that's happened.
You think Madison Bumgarner's a Hall of Famer?
No.
And so, because he kind of had these great postseasons.
And I said that probably too flippantly. I need to look at his numbers. But I go back to that, right? If I have to look into the numbers, to me, no. That would be my Hall of Fame because it wouldn't be all the people that are in it, right? But I played with Hall of Famers. Scott Rowland's a Hall of Famer. Dale Murphy's a Hall of Famer.
You think Pedro was more than you?
I think Pedro has
as many wins as you.
Pedro had the greatest. And so I came up with my own statistic to rate pitchers.
Those 2 years he had the 1-something ERA was insanity.
He had the greatest 3-year run in the history of baseball by a wide margin.
It was like Koufax stuff.
It was way better than Koufax when you compare him to the eras. That's the thing. Pedro had the greatest 3-run season.
You think Kershaw's a Hall of Famer?
Yo, absolutely, yeah.
Even with his postseason failures?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, because
he will not have as many wins as you.
Well, but I'll go back to 3,000 strikeouts. One of the few things that pitchers.
Well, you have 3,100.
Right, but 3,000 strikeouts is a thing. Like strikeouts, walks and hit innings pitch. Numbers like that. I pay attention to, but the whole thing became a popularity contest, and because I kept saying to people, I haven't gotten a hitter out in 8 years, but my vote total changes every year. How does that work? Right? And I also know the writers, right? There aren't a lot of Tim Kirchens and Jason Starks and Rob Bradfords, good, honest, integrity-filled people who love the sport. There are far more Dan Shaughnessy's and Michael Felgers and just phony-ass frauds who have turned
Dan Levitards.
Absolutely. What they've done is they've made themselves part of the story instead of reporting it. And they feel, and listen, I've met a lot of fans that are far smarter than any beat writer, many beat writers I ever was around. There's nothing about them and not all of them, obviously, nothing about them that is expert. They just have access and they feel like that empowers them. And well, I mean, what is it? There was a poll 2 years ago, 86% of sports writers define themselves as liberal. So, but here's the thing. I'm very proud of a couple things in my career. Jamie Moyer and I are the only two players to ever sweep the humanitarian awards. Lou Gehrig, Roberto Clemente, Branch Rickey, 5 or 6 awards. Those same guys are the ones that voted on those awards. Those same guys. So all of those guys who stood in front of my locker, win or lose, I was at my locker every game, and who loved the fact that I wasn't a yes/no guy. They'd ask me a question, I'd give them a quote. They'd take that quote and turn it into an article because, I said something. They loved that when I played. And when I retired, it became a problem. And baseball, for the most part, has gone. I mean, I've gotten nothing from baseball. I love teaching and working with young pitchers. I've worked with some teams on the draft and stuff like that.
But Curt, how do you do this? How do you take the All-Star game out of Atlanta the year that Henry Aaron dies,
right,
and move it into a more progressive state in Colorado with tougher laws because you're not educated?
No, because you're pandering to an audience that doesn't watch you anyway. The stands in most baseball stadiums, they're not full of liberals. Baseball is a conservative game. It always has been. It's a grassroots Americana game of history. And if anything we've learned in the last 10 years, liberals hate the history of this country. I mean, you look at baseball was a huge part of the color breakdown and the color barrier breakdown. They came very late to the party, but they came to the party. And, now you hear, I'm actually doing an article for Fox, and I was talking about racism in sports. There isn't racism in sports. The people that cover sports are racist. Because you hear about baseball being a racist sport when it's 50-some% white and I think 10% black. I don't hear about the NFL that's 82% black, or the NBA that's 78% black being racist. It's all about, and so I became, with a couple omissions, if you omit words from a comment, or you add them, or you interpret them your way, you can turn anybody into a racist, homophobic, misogynistic, whatever. None of those things. I think about this, Dan. I played 22 years. I never had a teammate, never had an opponent, never had a fan, never had a clubhouse guy, coach, anybody in the game ever say anything other than I talk too much. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because I do. But nobody. And now all of a sudden I'm this closet conspiracy theory guy who, I made a comment 5-6 years ago about that Q movement when I said, I haven't followed this, but this is kind of actually interesting to read about. I was a member of Q at that point, apparently. And so when the media can buy ink by the barrel and go and check, and there's no accountability, they can do whatever they want. They can,
Absolutely.
and you watch them ruin lives. I mean, how many athletes are you seeing go back to their high school tweets and delete them for things they said when they were 17?
Absolutely. Curt, I'm up against the wire here.
Yep.
I hope we can do this again, man, because you and I could talk for hours here about baseball, life, and politics. I think you're a compelling human.
I appreciate it, my friend.
Dude, I really loved it, and thank you so much for
always
finding
a pleasure,
time
Dan.
for me.
You take care of yourself.
Can we do it
God
again,
bless you,
please?
Philly. Thank you.
You got it. Appreciate it. Curt Schilling. Man, I love that. Dude, that was great stuff there. Somebody said that he hated Philly. I didn't get that. Where in the world? He loved his time. It prepped him for what he did in Boston. By the way, he thanked all of you guys for the comments and such. Man, Curt Schilling doesn't look at himself as a Hall of Famer. That's why he is a Hall of Famer. Dude, I mean, NLCS MVP with the Phillies, World Series MVP with the Snakes, 200 wins. By the way, you're never going to see a 300 winner in the history of baseball because most guys go only 5 2/3. You're never going to see that. Oh, Jeff, I love Roberto Clemente. Man, that guy was spectacular, man. We got to get Curt on again too. Dude, man, hey, him and Clemens, man. Oh, that was fantastic. Thank you so much, dude. That's a wonderful thing. Thank you, Curt. He said that he really had a fun time, and he said he would love to do it again with us here. Love it. All right, guys, Morgan & Morgan, where the fee is free. That means this. You don't have to pay until they get paid. Okay? That's right. If you don't get paid, okay, they are not going to do anything until you get your fair compensation. Finding an attorney is one of the most important things that you could possibly do when it comes to being hurt or injured on the job. For the people, my friends, it's not just a slogan. It's what they are. It's who they are. This is what Morgan & Morgan has done for over 30 years now, getting compensation for their clients. That's right, okay? $13 billion over the last 30 years in compensation for their clients. With over 800 attorneys and offices in Philadelphia, New York, and across the country, there is no law firm that is bigger when it comes to casualty than Morgan & Morgan. The call is free. 800-512-1600. That's 800-512-1600. Open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is who Morgan & Morgan is. Guys, you have been absolutely spectacular. We thank you. I like my friend Tony Sarakusa for coming on. He's from The Last Word in College Football. I thought that was a great conversation. Go back and watch it if you can. That was in the 4 o'clock Eastern hour. And we just had Curt Schilling on for quite some time, and he was just absolutely spectacular. Please hit the like button. We'll catch you tomorrow going 3 to 6 Eastern. We'll see you on the flip side.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. When you're hit from behind in a car crash, the insurance company may try to say, you can't possibly be hurt. It was only a few miles an hour. It's simply not true. You see, here's the thing. Getting hit at 10 miles per hour is like falling off of this. 15 miles per hour, like this. And only 25 miles per hour, this. Injured, dial pound law. There's only one Morgan & Morgan.